Yeah, we're live. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Hangout. I am Captain Andy, our host for this evening. The topic for Hangout. Okay. There we go. Yeah, our topic for this evening will be vegetarianism and veganism and things relating to those sorts of things. If we go around the table, we'll let everyone introduce themselves. I've just introduced myself. I am Captain Andy. I became a vegan. I became a vegetarian 13 years ago, and a year later I went vegan, and I'm still going strong. Hobbs, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Hobbs. I used to make YouTube videos. I've been a vegetarian for like 4 years now. Never went vegan. I think I'm going on year 5. That's all there's to say.
Cool, fair enough. Jacob, what about you? Are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Those animal reasons, they're quite good, but they're a bit mainstream. And my reason is that I don't want to end up like that lady who swallowed a fly.
Okay, fair enough. Good reason, good. JJ, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, hi, I'm JJ. I've been a vegetarian since I was 12. I guess that was 6 years ago, and I became vegan about 3 years ago.
Ah, cool. Sage?
Yeah, I've been a meat eater pretty much all my life. Really enjoyed the taste of meat, but for environmental reasons, I started cutting down, and I'm trying my best to just like get rid of meat from my diet completely.
Oh, okay. Very much. Okay, I thought I don't know. We could start off maybe talking about what people have had for dinner. Might be as good a place to start as any. I mean, I had jacket potato with some hummus and some salad, which is fairly ordinary. But yeah, I'm just wondering what sort of stuff do people eat of a day?
Well, I had spaghetti with the Morningstar fake ground beef. And
Oh, cool.
I had a burrito with some beans and rice, little lettuce, some onions.
Cool.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I was like stuff. That's very good.
Okay, cool. Jacob, what about you?
Are you expecting me to remember that long ago?
That long ago. You think back to dinner time.
Give me a moment.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Sage, what did you have for dinner? Was it meat?
I had rice, potatoes, hummus, and salads.
Oh, cool. That's very carb heavy. That's rice and potatoes.
Exactly.
carbs are my favorite. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, carbs are good. I mean, I do like a good carb, but that's good. Rice and I would normally only have rice or potatoes.
Happy New Year.
But you know, that's also good. I had one of those. I mean, if you guys ever had the like I did frozen banana with coconut, like a coconut milk for pudding today. It's kind of like banana ice cream or a milkshake or whatever, but it's good for you. Because I actually can't. It's weird. I can't eat bananas just as they are.
Really?
Yeah, it's probably because I'm an atheist. It's because I just when I see a banana, I'm just like, right, I'm gonna destroy this. I need to destroy all the evidence of creation. So right, let's chop this fucker up. Yeah,
This just fits perfectly in my hand. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. So I'm like, right, I'm destroying all evidence of creation. I'm just gonna chop this banana up, freeze it, mash it. Yeah. And they're like, fuck you, fits perfectly in your hand, yeah, fuck that. Getting mashed, and but it's good, it's really nice. it's pretty nice if you do that. If you freeze bananas and then blitz them with some kind of plant milk, um, like I use this sort of coconut rice milk combination stuff. I've tried it with a few other types, but it's really good. It goes like a kind of thick milkshake or ice cream, but it's good for you because it's banana and there's no like added sugar to it. It's just fruit sugar.
Yeah, yeah, that's good actually. I can't really eat bananas thanks to the amazing atheist. He ruined it.
Oh God!
I used to eat fruit at lunchtime and stuff. And, I kind of need to not pack bananas.
Yeah. So I think the amazing atheist ruined bananas for pretty much everyone. I
I love
think.
how you guys say banana.
Yeah.
Banana.
Tomato. That's how it's pronounced. Potato.
Tomato.
Yeah. Oh God. But yes, I was going to say something really interesting then. Oh yeah, fruit. Yeah, like there's some kinds of fruit I can have, like bananas. I just can't seem to have them unless I've mashed them and frozen them and done stuff to them. I can't really stomach them that well. But like I usually like apples, oranges, currants, chopped dates, and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. That's like that's like my 4 pieces of fruit a day. Then everything else is vegetables and stuff. But I don't know. Favorite fruit?
I'm a big fan of raspberries.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like sour stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
sour
all
stuff.
fruit.
Yeah, sour stuff can be nice with like something creamy, kind of like you like it's something kind of sour with something a bit sweet, like
Yeah. I
vegan.
used to love eating grapefruit, but I can't eat it anymore because I take some meds. But it's beside the point. But I loved grapefruit for a really long time. Stuff's delicious.
Fried grapefruit, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I tried it. It's just like sourness of it was just crippling. I couldn't manage it, even with a fuckload of sugar. I just was like, no, this is. I give up.
Yeah, I like me some, I don't know, mango, pomegranates, and grapes.
Yeah, good choice. Yeah, grapes. Well, I have currants, which are like grapes but shriveled up.
Are those like
stupid?
the
Currants
UK
are like
version of raisins? Yeah.
They're like raisins, yeah, but they're smaller. They're even smaller than raisins, which is why I like them.
Okay.
I don't know why. They're so small. You don't even have to do much effort chewing them. So if you're too lazy to chew, currants are an excellent substitute for raisins. They are. It's like chopped dates. I buy bags of chopped dates, which I just eat without having to do too much work. Saves me having to chop them myself. But they're really good, and they're an excellent source of something or other. I don't know. I think they've got iron in dates, which is good for our blood, as we all know. So, yeah, that's like my main 4 food. But I tried some persimmons or persimmons. I don't know how you pronounce it. Or Sharon fruits. I think they are. They look like they're kind of fruit. They look like tomatoes, but they're a dessert fruit, and they're a bit bigger. I don't know if
Never heard
anyone
of
ever
them.
had that. No, I don't know. The Violent Vegan, who is one of my favorite vegan channels, he eats them. Well, he calls them Paul Simons, which I think is quite good. But he eats them all the time. I tried them. They're okay. I don't know if I was that into them, but I did like make a recipe with one. They're the sort of thing you can put into cakes and pies and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was okay. But I'm a bit sort of unadventurous when it comes to fruit. I tend to stick to the Apple engine
Yeah.
current to the date. But, but yeah, I was wondering, another issue, palm oil. Is everyone aware of the controversy of palm oil?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, sage particularly interests you because it's to do with the environment. Palm oil is, depending on how it's sourced, it can be harmful to the rainforests, and it is sometimes like I think it's orangutans. Their habitats are being destroyed by this palm oil, and a product can still say on it like suitable for vegetarians or suitable for vegans, and contain palm oil because it's not like a dairy product or a meat product or anything like that. But it's not particularly animal friendly or environmentally friendly unless sometimes it will be sustainably sourced, which I'm assuming means they haven't ravaged an orangutan habitat or killed a lot of orangutans to get hold of it. But that's probably an issue. I try to avoid palm oil as a result of that. Any thoughts?
I hadn't heard that.
You not heard about that?
I-
No, yeah.
Don't eat or use anything that has palm oil in it anyway.
Yeah, me neither. I don't think.
Yeah. Well,
Even aware of
certain things like biscuits and sort of cookies, sorry, and certain things like that, like pastry products or whatever, might contain palm oil. Sometimes some sweets do as well.
Really?
Even if they say they're vegetarian, which I mean, technically they are vegetarian. They don't contain any animal, but they do contain a product which is not really animal friendly, if you know what I mean. So that's just something I was wondering about. Like, should vegetarians and vegans be more maybe start trying to boycott things like palm oil unless it's sustainably sourced? I'm thinking probably yes.
Yeah.
Try to cut out processed foods as much as possible because you can't be 100% sure what's in them, to be honest.
Hmm.
Even with our labeling laws here in the UK, there's still a lot of dodgy stuff floating about.
Yeah.
My
That's it.
is
I generally try to not use or eat anything that's not animal friendly. I mean, it's a learning process. I feel like you're not going to get it perfect like the first day, but
Yeah.
you learn as you go.
Yeah, I think it's difficult to completely avoid. You know, I don't know if it's even possible to completely avoid like animal
100%.
products.
Yeah.
I was thinking if I go to a public restroom, I mean, when I use the soap, I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, I did think about carrying my own soap around with me, and then I thought that would be kind of weird.
That's funny.
I thought, was that
Right,
really
well, that's-
weird?
That's what I was
Well-
thinking when you said palm oil at first, because that's all I ever really see it in is soap.
Oh,
In my
right.
experience, anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess like I don't visit a whole lot of like vegetarian stores here in the U.S., but I've never seen it put into things. But I don't like read labels.
No.
Yeah, but how far do you have to go? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not like super you know, I'm a bit lazy, I guess you could say, but it looks like sometimes doing the right thing is a lot of hard work and it requires a lot of research
Yeah.
and stuff. Don't make it
Yeah.
easy for people if you want to, you know, consume responsibly and stuff like that. They don't make it easy for you, man.
No. True. Well, I think you have to just try. And, you know, nobody's perfect, but
Well, okay. In case I don't know if any of you guys wear makeup, but in case anyone watching wears makeup, there is a makeup company called BH Cosmetics that I use, and they're really affordable, and they do not test on animals or anything. So,
yeah.
just heads up.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Yeah, because I always get hold of like when I'm buying like shampoo or anything like that, or shower gel. I'm always trying to find deodorant. I'm always trying to find stuff that's okay. There was a really good deodorant made by Original Source available in the UK, and then they just stopped making it, and I was so pissed off about that because it was a vegan deodorant and it was really good, and they just stopped making it. I found another one since, but it took ages, and I
Who
felt
needs
really
deodorant?
yeah, I feel really sorry for anyone who was around me at that time. Yeah, it was like, sorry, yeah, I know, but yeah, sorry, yeah, doing it for the animals, I'm afraid. So just put a clothes peg on that. but I found, yeah, Original Source are really good though. They do like really nice shower gels. Like they do coconut and whatever else, and lime and lemon flavored shower gel, which is cool. That's really nice. It's really cheap as well.
The mint one is really good.
Yes, the mint one is great. Yes, Vegan Society approved as well, which is really good. Because that's what you want to see. I'm assuming they have. I know the Vegetarian Society, for their approval, they have quite high standards for what they'll approve. They won't approve. I doubt they would approve anything with unsustained palm oil or anything like that. But yeah, it's getting things that aren't tested on animals is something some people probably overlook. And it's clothing as well.
Well, how do you guys feel about honey?
I don't eat it myself. I don't really like it.
I'm in the same boat as Andy. Not a big fan.
I don't know. It's a bit. It tastes kind of weird to me when you just. So.
Well, technically it comes from an animal, I guess. So a lot of vegans don't eat it and say it's bad, but like apparently it's good for bees, for us to like, I don't know, beekeep and harvest. I don't know. That's what I read. So it's kind of like.
Yeah, I only have honey when I'm ill. So just put it in my tea or something. It makes me feel a bit better. But otherwise I don't have honey as a daily thing.
You see, I put honey in my tea. I heard it increases your testosterone, but being me, I can't tell the difference.
I've heard of it increasing in testosterone. Yeah, I don't know, but I don't really like honey. That's the thing. So it's never been a huge dilemma for me. Like, oh, should I have honey or not? Because I just don't. It's got a weird. I don't know to describe the flavor. It's got a weird aroma to me. Honey has, which I think I don't know. I'm not particularly into. Yeah. It's probably the pollen in it, I suppose. Is that how it's made? It's like bees gather pollen and then turn it into honey.
I'm not a bee.
No idea.
Oh.
I'm assuming it is. I'm assuming that's how they do it. They
I actually have a
get
vegan book here. Let me see if it has anything in it.
But I like things like maple syrup and stuff like that. But on the subject of alcohol, by the way, while we're on it, Roll now. Yeah, this is. Can we all see the? Hang on, I'll just. Yeah, can you see the Vegetarian Society logo?
That's
there?
Impressive.
There we go. Yes, Grolsch is a Vegetarian Society approved lager because some alcohol is fined with isinglass. Is everyone aware of that?
They doesn't that mean they clear it with like a fish bladder or something?
Yes,
or am I
it's
thinking
made of
something else.
It's made of fish swim bladders, and some beers are cleared using that, which is a bit gross. But Grolsch is brewed slowly. It's brewed slowly, so they don't need to clear it, and that's why it's okay. So if you're an alcoholic, you can still be a vegetarian. I think it's wonderful.
Yes, you always have options. You always have options.
Well, what about hard liquor?
Mm.
Do they? Oh yeah, I don't know anything about alcohol. Do they?
Well, like
Use?
spirits.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think mostly that sort of stuff's okay. I think, because of
Yeah. Like I
I,
don't
I
drink,
don't I
so.
don't I don't think you need to clear it. So I think stuff like vodka and whiskey and so on is okay. Um, One thing I don't think you get it in America. Bitter. Are you familiar with bitter? Does the word mean anything?
No.
No. Well, bitter is a very, very British thing. You know what I mean, don't you, Sage? Bitter.
Yeah, bitter
Yeah.
ales and stuff like that.
Yes, it is a very British form of beer, and people who are devout drinkers of it will get very angry with you if you ever call a lager a beer. If you ever refer to lager as beer, they will be like, no, 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 that's not a beer. That's a lager. That's a fizzy lager. And they will point you to a real ale. And like, I used to drink that sort of stuff all the time, but yeah, it's not most of the time. Mostly, it's not vegan, unfortunately, or vegetarian. It's mostly is cleared with isinglass. Although there are some bitters that aren't. But bitter used to be it was really cheap as well. So if you were like didn't have a lot of money but wanted to drink, bitter was probably the sort of thing you would go with in my day. Anyway,
Hmm.
Do they have 40s over there?
have what? Sorry?
Do you have 40s over there? Malt liquor?
40.
They're 40
We
ounces.
Yeah.
Do we have that stage? Oh, you don't
I'm
drink,
not
do you?
sure.
No,
Do we have that?
I don't drink.
Why?
That's
I know, like everyone thinks I'm an alcoholic. I actually don't drink spirits really often at all.
That's funny.
The only reason everyone on YouTube
That's
thinks
like the big.
I'm an
You always
alcoholic
make
is
drunk
because
videos.
yeah, it's because when I make a video on the occasions of a week where I sit down to make a video, it's usually when I've got a night off or something and I've got some beers in, and I think, oh, I'll have some beer and I'll make a video, and everyone just think because that's all they ever see me do, they just assume that's my life right through.
I
But
kind of assumed that was your life.
yeah.
Not gonna
I'll
lie.
post a link to what I'm talking.
Like
What's that, sorry?
alcoholism.
Yeah.
So I'll post a link to what I'm talking about in the chat.
But yeah, so yeah, there is short and long short, there is vegetarian and vegan suitable alcohol available.
You kind of have to be wary of some wines as well because they're also
Yeah.
filtered through, I think, cow in trials and stuff.
Yeah, yes, they can be. Wine is tough because they change the process by which they brew it a lot more frequently because it's like a yearly thing, isn't it? It's like, oh, are these grapes? Was this a good year for grapes? Or whatever. Yeah, it's yearly. They're bringing wines out, so they're changing the methods by which they might brew them constantly. So I don't drink a lot of wine, but my local supermarket does a really nice red wine that's vegan. I think it's nice anyway, but I don't really drink wine, so I'm all right with it. I think if you found a proper wine drinker, they might not like it because it's like £5 a bottle, which is about, I think that's less than $10. It's not, it's not exactly classy wine. It does have the supermarket logo on the label, which doesn't help. But because I'm not really a wine drinker, it works for me. I think were I a proper connoisseur of wine, the kind of person who spits into buckets, I think I would. Yeah, which is not classy, is it?
Yeah.
I've always found that really weird about wine tasting people. They'll always like sort of swill the wine around and knock it into a bucket. And we're supposed to, we're supposed to think that that's a classy thing to do. That's just gross. Spitting into a bucket. Ooh.
I've always found that people drink way too much in England, just way too much, far much more than would be recreationally acceptable. But I don't want to go to my best friends and tell them they're all alcoholics because that would really make me unpopular quite fast.
Well, like I've known a couple of like genuine alcoholics, and it's quite a different thing. Being an actual alcoholic is quite different to just being someone who drinks a lot. I mean, these are people who really have some. I think they're born almost with some kind of, you know, disorder or whatever. I think alcoholism is actually classed as a mental illness.
Probably.
I think
Yeah,
it's not like.
There's a difference between being like actually addicted to alcohol and just like binge drinking every weekend.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Like most people who like get hammered every weekend in college, but there are some people who do.
Yeah, but you don't drink. You say,
No, not really.
JJ, do you drink?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
How old am I? 18.
We'll forgive you.
No, that's okay in the UK.
I was gonna say, you guys in the UK, it's okay.
18 is the age you can start drinking. I couldn't wait till I was 21 to start drinking. I mean, God, no.
Yeah, I couldn't wait till I was 16.
Yeah.
I was really disappointed. Sorry, I was really disappointed to find out that I have a very low tolerance for alcohol. Otherwise, I would be drinking too, I guess.
That's good though, because then you like don't waste money, and then
Yeah, you can get a half of lager and it'll last you all night. And
Yeah, but I have responsibilities outside of work as well, so that would be a bit dumb for me to start drinking, even like maybe a glass or something.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough. It's good. I can remember the days that, like, talking about money. I can remember back in the day, the days of yore. I could go to the pub with 10 quid and still possibly come back with some change from a night. And that is just something about. I'm trying to do the exchange rate here. 10 quid is like
I'll look it up.
$17, something like that. It's less than $20, but. Yeah, I could go to the pub and spend. I mean,
$15, damn.
Yeah. Like a pint of lager or something now is about £3, between £3 and £4 now. But those days, I mean, if you paid more than £2 for a pint, you'd be horrified. You'd be like, "Oh my God, I just paid more than £2 for a pint. What kind of, overpriced place am I in?" And nowadays. Forget it. I mean, eventually it'll be £5 a pint. But yeah, I used to. Yeah, you'd go with 10 quid and you'd probably come back with some change. And those days are gone.
I remember when the price of. Do they have PBR over in the UK? Pabst Blue Ribbon. It's a beer.
PBR. No. Oh, I've heard of it. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Like yes, I have heard of it. I've heard of it.
It's like this
can. Yeah. It's super cheap. I remember it's what a lot of my friends like to drink because it was like 75 cents a can. And they were like, it went up to $1 a can like 2 years ago. They're furious when it happened.
Oh God! Is it really strong stuff as well?
No. It's like 5%.
It's shitty.
Because over here, the stronger stuff is really cheap. That's the weird thing. Like really high alcohol beer, like beer that's like 8%, is really cheap. And when I used to work in like a liquor store, as you'd call it, tramps and stuff come in, like local kind of booze hounds would come in and they'd order, they'd buy like a can of it. That was it. They wouldn't buy a pack. They'd buy one can of it because it was like for the day, just to get that load of alcohol into them for the day. And you just, oh God, it tastes horrible as well. That kind of stuff because it's so strong.
That's the thing with 48% usually, and they're like $5 maybe, but it's like 40 ounces of beer.
Yeah, it's all about the alcohol. It's not about savoring the beautiful flavors of this.
Right,
just get the job done.
Just getting some alcohol.
Well, the other thing that people like to do is and I guess you guys don't play this game over there because you're too fancy. But there's this game that people like to play. It's called Edward 40 Hands, where you duct tape two 40s to your hands, and you have someone else uncap them, and you have to drink them, and you don't get someone to. It's hilarious to watch people play that game.
Yeah.
You just drink and don't stop.
Yep. that's the game.
God,
You
no,
see
I've
who
never
can
played
finish
that.
them the fastest.
Oh God. No, never played that. No.
Far too
Yeah.
adventurous for me, guys. Far too adventurous for me.
Oh,
Aww.
Never
I like
mind.
how this turned into an alcoholic chat.
Yeah. We're talking about vegetarianism.
Yeah,
Vegetarian alcoholism.
alcohol. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I highly doubt 40s are vegetarian.
well, that's another thing. I mean, well, I was gonna say, yeah, there is some people are vegetarian or whatever for religious reasons, and they might also not drink. That is also a thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like with Jainism or whatever.
Yeah, like I've got a couple. Unless
Couple of what?
there are any halal butchers around. So
What did you say?
I have a couple of Muslim friends who are vegetarian. Just because there aren't any halal butchers around.
Yeah. Oh, I swear, yeah. Well, that's something maybe to talk about. I mean, halal slaughter to me is, and everyone says that, like, I constantly get these anti-theists telling me that I never speak out against Islam because I'm too scared of offending the social justice warrior community or whatever. And I said, well, actually, I have spoken out against halal slaughter because I do think it's a particularly cruel kind of slaughter. I don't know, what do people think of that?
Well, I think the standard slaughter and halal slaughter are, well, there's very little difference, to be honest. Same with it's pretty much halal slaughter is sort of like very similar to kosher slaughter as well.
Yes.
So yeah, it's sort of like I mean, if you're kind of against animal slaughter, you'll probably be against all forms of it, not just the halal ones. But yeah, I think yeah, if you want to get specific about it, it can be cruel. It just depends on how it's done, basically.
Mm.
But
Well,
yeah, have
they
you?
don't stun the animal. They calm the animal, and they have to bleed all the blood out of the animal.
Okay, ew. That's
Yeah.
so sad.
To me, it's a very cruel form of slaughter
I
because
think, yeah. I mean, it's extra cruel.
yeah. So I have spoken out against that. I keep saying that to people, like when I get all these Islamophobe kind of anti-theist dipshits posting on my channel saying I don't have the guts to say anything against Islam. I said, well, actually, I have done. I'll even link them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you link this stuff to people, though. It's never enough to, to satisfy them. You know, it's like,
Have you been called an apologist yet? Have you
Yes,
been
of
called an
course.
apologist yet? I get really annoyed when I.
Yeah, I have been called everything. I have been called someone who hates white people. I've been called a racist against white people. I've been called a misogynist as well, but also I've been called someone who hates men, like a misandrist. So yeah, I've got both of those down. I've been told that I secretly am a Muslim, and I am pretending to be an atheist in order to try and bring about stealth jihad or whatever. I'm secretly an agent of Islam because apparently somewhere in the Quran it says you're allowed to lie about being a Muslim. Apparently that's allowed. You can lie about being a Muslim so as to somehow help the cause of Islamic jihadism. Yeah, I've been called many things on YouTube. Yeah, that's one of the things, and it doesn't matter though, like how much you point out to people that you have. I have actually done some criticisms of Islam. I just don't do the sort of criticisms that the EDL or UKIP or Pat Condell or anyone like that would do, because those guys are obviously racist, obviously xenophobes and so on. And but that's one of the things I've criticised is halal slaughter. But I've noticed that Islamophobes suddenly start caring about animals when it gives them an opportunity to bash Islam.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just like it's a really cool kind of slaughter, and it's like, okay, it is, but so is every other kind of slaughter. Well, why don't you care about that?
All
Like,
factory farming.
yeah, they're like, because it's British slaughter. It's good old fashioned British slaughter. We're down with that.
I don't personally. I don't mind whatever. People can call me whatever, and I just like I'll walk it off or whatever. But when I get called an apologist for Islam, that really annoys me. Is I'm just asking people to be more nuanced in the way that they view things, and not actually trying to get people to convert to Islam or anything. I'm just like, I disagree with the most organized religion for many reasons.
Well, I have a video on my channel called I Am a Muslim. I don't know if you'll have watched it. It's quite an old one. But it was my response to people calling me a Muslim, or saying I was secretly a Muslim. I just did a video on my channel where I came out and admitted I was a Muslim. And I even changed my intro, my theme tune. I changed it slightly to make it more Muslim. And instead of wearing a bandana, I wore a tea towel. It was great.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, sorry. But yeah, that's an issue, a relevant issue with Islam and Judaism, is slaughter, these types of ritual slaughter. But at the same time, yeah, like Hobbes was saying, people who can only eat certain types of meat may find themselves eating vegetarian food a lot more often because of that. They will just order the vegetarian option because they don't want non-blessed meat. So I suppose it's good that they're ordering the vegetarian option, but considering it's because the meat hasn't been... That's always seems to be the way it is. It's like the level of cruelty that it's like, because this meat hasn't been bled slowly to death. It seems like a really weird reason to go for the vegetarian option.
Sorry, I'm back.
You've just been moving.
Yeah.
Alright, so what was it?
Should be able to stay for now. Just
cool.
a row.
Cool. Cool. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I always find it really, really annoying that anti-theists in our community are just douchebags. The worst kind of horrible people. But the fact is that they're really poorly informed as well. They're just so uninformed too, and that's what really gets my goat. You're criticizing things that you don't even understand, and then you call anyone who disagrees with you, even marginally, an apologist.
Yeah.
My favorite one is the one will be like, "You're a secret Muslim."
Yes. Yes, that's my favorite.
That one's always really good.
It's amazing. Yeah.
One second.
I just love that. Yeah, this whole accusation that people must be secretly Muslims because somewhere in the Quran it says that you can be. I just think, like, people say, why do you defend Islam? I said, I don't defend Islam. I defend secularism. It's not my job to defend Islam. That's for people who follow Islam to do. That task is their charge. I defend people's right to follow whatever religion they want. And that's it. That's all it is. But they can't see the difference.
Yeah, I mean, any slight disagreement with their narrative is like promoting Islam and stuff. And I personally despise a lot of religion. I'm kind of very, very anti-organized forms of religion, but at the same time, like, what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna forcibly deconvert people, or you just? I think the best thing to do is promote secularism and make sure that there aren't any laws made regarding religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like I think the thing too that a lot of those anti-theists don't understand is it's like you get rid of, like, they like to bang about Islam a lot. It's like you get rid of Islam from the Middle East, like, what changes? Like, other than the fact that there aren't any Muslims now, like the socio-political circumstances that are causing the violence are still there.
Yes. Yeah.
So, like, what have you done?
Yes, you have lack of resources and people wanting each other's land and everything, and yeah, you've still got a lot, one of the same problems.
Yeah.
But I don't think anti-theists have thought that far ahead. To be honest, I think it's at least to an end really arguing against religion for them.
But Richard Dawkins says Islam is uniquely evil and he's our God. We must obey him.
We must obey Richard Dawkins.
Did you speaking of Dawkins? And actually, let's roll this back to the honey thing. Did you see? There's something I retweeted. Someone's like, "May Allah take all of Dawkins' honey for now and forever in the afterlife." Amen.
Yeah,
because he got like all whiny a couple of years ago when some honey got taken from him in the TSA when he was doing a speech at some university in the U.S.
Yes. It was taken on an airplane, wasn't it? They thought they confiscated his honey.
Yeah, it was when he was. I've never been to Europe, so I don't know. I don't know how your airports work, but you have to go. You have to go through security checks, and they send your bags through scanners, and they'll take anything out that has more than 3 ounces of liquid in it, and he had more than 3 ounces of honey, so the TSA took it, and he was just like all pissed off about it.
Yeah. What he said was, he said, Osama bin Laden has won because my honey has been confiscated, because security is now sitting tight at the airport. And
that's what Osama bin Laden wanted.
Yes, it's like Dawkins.
That's what he wanted the whole time.
Yeah, Dawkins should get someone to proofread his tweets because his tweets are always stupid. Like he just has these thoughts and just tweets them out, and it's like, think about these before you tweet them. They make you look more.
He's like your crazy old grandfather who you just kind of wish would shut up. Like, I agree with what you said sometimes, but just stop talking.
Yeah. Like, he has a platform. It's annoying.
Well, Steve Shives did that in one of his 5 stupid things, and he said 5 stupid things for whatever date it was. He said, someone please get Richard Dawkins off Twitter. Someone to take his phone while he's not looking.
It gets like progressively worse too, because first it started with the elevator gate thing, and then he just ranted about Islam, and now he's just like talking about rape and women, and it's just like, just stop talking, Dawkins.
Yes.
He can afford to hire a public relations person to deal with his tweets. That's all he needs to do.
Yeah.
I really hope. Like, the thing that I really hope is I hope it isn't him writing those. Like, I hope he hired somebody.
I wouldn't pay someone to type that kind of crap. If I was paying someone to type my tweets and they came out with that, I would sack them on the spot. Like, I'm an Oxford University professor, and this is the kind of crap I come out with on Twitter.
Well, have you seen the Richard Dawkins parody Twitter?
Yes, with Doc Brown, the picture of Doc Brown.
Yeah.
Yes, that is pretty funny.
Twitter. It's so great.
Yes. But my favourite tweet, it was in all caps. And it just said something like, Justin Bieber, why you no promote atheism?
The other really good one that he did was like, It was like, wife won't kiss me goodbye, like social justice question mark. That Twitter's gold.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I like parody Twitter accounts. I mean, they're probably not allowed, but they're still funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes, back to the
Vegetarianism.
subject.
Right.
Oh yeah, I was thinking like, I mean, promoting vegetarianism to people. I mean, the do's and don'ts of that, and are there counterproductive ways of doing it?
I feel like, okay, because people, especially like on Tumblr in real life, people are always like, oh, vegans are so overzealous and they're trying to force their beliefs on us. But, like, that happens to me 10 times a day from meat eaters. Like, it happens to you once every 6 months from vegans. Like, it happens to me all the time. So I don't know why people act like.
Best way to
Oh
do it
yeah.
is lead by
Like
example.
whenever I tell people I'm a vegetarian, like I'll straight up tell them like I won't be a dick about it unless they're like they'll start being like, oh well, like I'm gonna eat meat in your face, like, oh I love bacon, and then I'll just like start being a total asshole about it.
And they do the whole I love bacon thing. Okay, great, fantastic.
Yeah, it's like I have a no first use policy on being pushy about being a vegetarian.
Yeah. Well, I sometimes just give. I think over the years, both in real life and offline, I've become quite good at dealing with trolls. I don't know. I couldn't put it down. I couldn't, put my finger on it. But I just have kind of ways of dealing with these people. Like, or if they say something deliberately inflammatory to me, I'll always avoid that and go to the other thing they said or whatever. It's always a good way to deal with anyone who's trying to antagonize you on any subject is to avoid the stuff they're trying to piss you off with and go to the other stuff. It's difficult to say. There's kind of an art and a science to it, and I think I've kind of got it down, but I don't know if I could explain it to other people. But I'm also quite into sarcasm, and when I first became a vegetarian, people kept asking me, why have you become a vegetarian? Why have you become a vegetarian? Why have you become a vegetarian? And I used to just say stuff like, to annoy you. I just said, I was thinking, how can I annoy you? Oh, I know. I'll stop eating meat. That'll be fun. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. I just feel like I spend too much time being on the defensive 24/7 that I have no time to even try to convert people. Like sometimes people, my Tumblr followers and subscribers will message me and be like, oh, give me advice on how to become vegetarian, which is great, but I don't do it in real life generally.
Yeah. I think if someone asks you, it's good, isn't it? You can open up a dialogue but yeah, I just think I try not to sort of feed the trolls. Like, if someone's trying to have an argument with me, do you find like people sometimes try and argue with you while you're eating?
Oh yeah,
well, like all the time.
It's so annoying.
When I get it.
I always read by myself because I can't deal with it.
Yeah, it's just like I'm trying to eat. It's like I don't mind having a conversation about this another time.
Don't interrogate me.
It's like I'm eating. Yes, it's like Homer Simpson. Like I can't talk eating. Yeah. Like, for one thing, I'm eating, so I'm using my mouth for something more important than talking to you. So
right, like I don't want to hear about how much you love bacon while I'm trying to enjoy the sandwich. Like, go away.
And then they'll be like, I was vegan once for 3 days. Okay, great.
Yeah. Now, people have always got some obscure friend who went vegetarian and almost died. Yeah. My friend.
Or they read an article somewhere, and I'm just like, okay, fantastic.
Yeah, it's like
have fun with your burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've just been reading the comment section, and apparently Jacob Gibbs thinks that we abuse chickens and cows just as much as meat eaters.
that
Right.
YouTuber guy.
Well,
So that's fun.
This,
Someone
this
posted
is
that a while
probably
ago.
bad.
Mm.
How do we do that?
I wasn't going to joke to that.
Hmm?
Sorry. I have the other. I have the other window open, and I paused the video, so it doesn't bleed into the chat
Yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
having.
Yeah. But how do we abuse cows and chickens? As
Oh,
not just me.
no details given. Citation needed.
Yeah, I'd have thought.
I know personally, I abuse cows on the daily. I have one in my room. I just like hit.
Yeah. Oh God. But no, the promotion. I was reading a blog recently, just before we did the hangout, and it was the title of it was "Am I too militant or not militant enough?" And it's by I think a vegetarian or a vegan, but they were talking about how when they first became vegetarian, they were very kind of evangelistic about it, or whatever. They were always talking about it, which is kind of understandable. I think when you discover a new thing that you think is cool, you just want to talk about it, don't you? It's just like you want to talk about it all the time. But they said they've learned not to be kind of preachy because they've realised it's not really the best way to convince people of your argument. And I get that.
Yeah, lead by example, basically.
Yeah, that's
I don't
usually
think I ever went through that phase. Like, I feel like from day one, I was always kind of like even trying not to let people know that I was vegan, just kind of, doing my own thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think I sort of don't try to go on about it too much, but if people ask about it, I'll talk to them about it. But I mean, I've met some people who are total dicks, but a lot of people I know are okay about it. Really,
I think I just don't know, like, etiquette,
Yeah.
like when to discuss that and what to say and not to say.
Yeah, like, if someone wants to have a conversation with me about it in good faith, I will. But,
Yeah.
like, if they're just sitting there and, like I said before, if they're like, oh, I love bacon so much, or just, like, any of those, like, the, like, stereotype things that we talked about earlier.
Yeah. Well, the thing with bacon as well, bacon is just, like, fat, basically, isn't it? It's just, like, salt and fat. And
it's disgusting.
So people go on about it like it's this amazing food, and it's like it's just fat.
It's really nasty.
And salt. And salt as well.
Yeah, it's not like a clever food. It's not like not some complicated kind of cuisine. It's just lots of fat, and people like fat. So that's why I get really tired of people going on about bacon. Like whenever I smell bacon now, all I smell is fat. It's just like the smell of fat and heart attack, and it's just like the smell of it makes me think of cardiac arrests. And like, no.
Yeah, people just basically annoyed with me because of my environmentalism, and I'm not even pushy about that. I'm just like, oh, I recycled something over the weekend, or I ride a bike into work, and then I think when I fell off my bike and busted both my knees, I think everyone was like really happy in the office, but I don't even understand why. I was just like, I don't even promote it.
Yeah. They were like, you see, environmentalism is bad. It makes your knees.
I think personally, people just like feel like subconsciously they just feel bad that they can't. You know what I mean? Like that they don't have the willpower to be vegan, or like ride a bike and not drive. So then they like feel happy when someone who's doing better than them can't.
Yeah. They try and they commit the nirvana fallacy. Is everyone familiar with that particular logical fallacy?
No. Let's look that up.
The nirvana fallacy is when someone says, because you can't create a perfect nirvana, the state of perfect enlightenment, there's no point trying to improve the world. You know, they'll create like an impossible to reach standard, and say because you can't reach that standard, there's no point trying to improve things at all. And that's a logical fallacy. It's like, well, we can still try and make things better, even if we can't make them perfect. I think that's a good approach. So we could have this standard and say this is what we're trying to reach, and even if we never really reach it, the fact that we're trying to reach it means we'll probably still improve things. But their logic is because we can't ever achieve this perfect standard, we should just not bother doing anything, which is convenient for them because that's what they're doing anyway. Yeah. It's convenient if you're a lazy piece of crap. Yeah.
Complete apathy.
Yeah, but it's justifying their own laziness and apathy and what have you, isn't it? It's just it's them saying, oh well, you know, I'm justified in not bothering to change anything because it won't ever be perfect. But that's not just how life is.
Yeah, well, I mean, go on.
No, you can go.
Yeah, I just don't know. I think if you yourself don't want to change anything and be lazy, I'm not gonna have a go at you for it. I mean, all most people are just saying is just like, oh, this is an option for you to do. You don't have to live that way. You can buy into everything. You can be part of humorism culture and stuff. It's not big deal. It's just yeah. Why do you have to put people down that actually want to like or want to
Yeah,
help things out?
it's ridiculous. Do you ever have the problem where people like you'll be, I don't know, this happened to me the other day. My friend wanted some cake that was sitting in the kitchen of our apartment building. She was like, will you go get me a piece? I was like, sure. So I go down there to get her some, and as soon as I grab it, everyone in the room like stops and like stares at me and starts like interrogating me and telling me I can't eat it and stuff. And I'm like, first of all, chill out. I don't know. People always feel the need to like look at what I'm eating and making sure it's vegan, and I'm like, why is everyone up in my business? It happens to me all the time. I don't know if it happens to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, they thought it was for you. They thought you were getting cake for you.
Yeah, I just tell people I'm on a diet. I just tell people I'm on a diet, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just on a diet, but I'm not observant, and then they'll pick up on that, but they won't like say anything else.
Well, a number of years ago, I was still living with my parents, and my mum asked me to help her unpack the shopping. And I was putting this pack of bacon in the fridge. Even though it's a pack of bacon and it's sealed in plastic, I was still holding it by the corner. I was like, I don't know why, because it's sealed. It's like sealed in a packet. I was just sort of like, I just felt like instinctively like not touching it. Weird, which is stupid because yeah, it's in plastic. But I don't know.
It's okay. I feel you.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird things. It's like on New Year's Eve, for example. I mean, I was in this bar, and I was sat on this seat on this. I'm not going to call it a sofa, but like one of those sort of long seat kind of things, more like a sort of lengthy stool. And I think I eventually moved because it was clearly made of cowhide. But I mean, I've sat on leather seats plenty of times, and it doesn't genuinely bother me. Obviously, if I'm furnishing my own house, I wouldn't buy leather. I'd buy something else. But if I'm at someone else's house or at a bar, I'm not really going to fuss about it. But it's because it was like really obviously cowhide. Like it still had the kind of hair on it and the kind of brown and white imprint. It was really obvious that it was dead cow, and for some reason I just was like, I can't sit on this. This is horrible. It's like every time I put my hands down to me, it's like there's feeling hair. This is so gross. I just had to move to a different seat eventually, and I don't know, like really. I mean, this cow is no less dead than any other cow that's been made into a seat, but because it was that obvious, I was just like, oh, this is horrible. I don't want to sit. I don't know. It's not logical. It's emotional, isn't it? But
Yeah, I don't particularly care about the animals. It's just it's just environmentalism. So yeah.
Animals are part of the environment.
That's like the worst thing I've ever heard anyone say. I don't particularly care about animals.
They're part of the environment, they say. They make a part.
I mean, I don't mean that I want them to be exposed to vicious cruelty or anything like that. I'm just saying, for me, it's more environmentalism rather than like animals, because I was made like my dad sort of made me slaughter animals when I was a kid.
So God, really?
So I think I had like a pet goat.
Oh man! Oh no! You're telling me you killed? Oh no!
Yes, and then we ate it.
No!
Oh God!
No! Cease and desist.
That's terrible. But they made you kill your pet and eat it.
I would literally cry away from home.
Oh, that's awful though.
I was too young to realize what was happening. I was just I was like, oh, why is he like, oh, why is the goat not like alive anymore?
Oh God! Oh man, that's terrible. Oh, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But
yeah.
That is, though, I think they're like one of the big hypocrisies with most people who eat meat. They would never kill their own meat. I think most people wouldn't. If faced with the task of doing it, I think most people couldn't do it. But they'll eat it, but they need someone else behind some closed door somewhere to kill their meat. And that's one of the reasons, that's probably one of the motivating factors for me giving up meat was this idea that I couldn't kill it. I couldn't kill something.
I definitely get what you mean. Like, I think that might be a cultural thing, though. Like, I live in the U.S., so hunting, like, especially where I live, hunting is huge. So a lot of people do kill and eat their own, kill their own food and eat it.
Hunting in the UK, as far as I'm aware, is pretty much illegal across the board. Fox hunting was legal. Fox hunting was legal a number of years ago. I think we're going back about 10 years now. But it was banned. But fox hunt, I mean, people don't hunt foxes to eat them. They just hunt them to kill them. So it's particularly grotesque.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's been banned. It's banned. The people who do it obviously started acting like victims, like people always do. They always do when, you know, this sort of situation. They said it was class prejudice against them because most fox hunters are upper class. They said, "Oh, this is prejudice against the upper class. We're so hard done by being upper class. It's just so sucks. They won't even let us kill animals. It's so sad. It's like, oh yeah, fuck you."
Like, I don't want to give away my where my state is specifically, but we had a referendum on our ballot a couple of years ago to ban. So in my state, you were allowed to place out bait for bears, so you could attract bears to come and then shoot them, and just all of the hunters got on their little boy pants and just cried all day about it. They're like, oh no, we're not gonna do this. We can't, bait them into our yards. It was just the worst thing.
Oh God! The thing is, in the UK, right? I can go I could go pretty much anywhere, and say hunting is wrong, and I don't think most people would care. That's the weird thing. I can go into pretty much any bar. I can walk into a bar and talk quite openly about how I think hunting is disgusting. I don't think anyone would care, but I get the impression in America or Canada or wherever else. Yeah, that would.
I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
Probably get shot.
If you don't have a fucking deer head on your wall, people are like, you're a terrorist.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's the
Yeah,
weird thing.
you aren't real American.
Yeah.
Go back to
That's the thing,
Russia.
it's just yeah. I mean, you might get like one person over here who approves of hunting, but they're probably going to shut up about it because they know they're in the minority. And they know everyone's going to think they're assholes, so they're just going to like.
Yeah,
I get the impression in
here.
America it's just the other way around.
Everyone hunts in America.
Like
Yeah,
everyone
like-
has to be apologetic about it and like, look, do you have to say things like, I don't hunt, but I respect your right to hunt? Do you have to say
Yeah.
things like that? Yeah. No, I don't have to say that.
I don't say stuff like that. Like, I'm pretty vocal about that. I think hunting is like disgusting, but I'm also like anti-gun rights and stuff too, which makes me like a huge like libturd PC, piece of shit.
Yeah.
It must be funny for you.
Whoa.
Hello, King. Hello, King.
Yeah.
Hi.
I have news for you, John. I know in the past that you have all.
What?
Okay. Hello, King. King, are you a vegetarian?
No, I'm not actually.
Oh, dear.
I honestly wait. My audio keeps being a bit shit, so I won't be able to hear you berate me.
Do you want to tell us why you love bacon?
No.
How did you find the Hangout?
I don't. Well, actually, I saw it on the what's it called, the YouTube thing, and you were talking about religion. And I was like, oh shit, they're not even talking about vegetarianism. And I made a comment about it, and Jacob said,
Yeah.
But actually, I was planning on partially just being an observer,
Okay.
mostly because I have to tidy my room.
Okay. Cool. Go for it.
I just thought I'd stick around. So
Yeah, sure. No worries.
So don't let me interrupt your.
No. Cool. What was it? We talking about hunting, weren't we, a moment ago? Yeah. I mean.
Yeah. So like with my social group, not a lot of hunters. But my like extended social group, there are, and in like my hometown, there are definitely a lot of people who hunt. But if I went into like a bar or something, I couldn't just hunting's evil and stuff. Like I get like thrown out or get into a fight. Like
It's another thing about the great thing about the UK. No one owns guns except farmers. So it's just like even the police don't carry guns over here. Unless they're part of the armed response unit. So it's like I don't worry about getting shot, and I mean, farmers only own guns if they have to like shoot like if like a fox or something comes and tries to kill their chickens or something. That's why they're allowed to own guns, but that's it.
Everyone here has guns. That's so weird.
well,
yeah.
I don't have to worry about getting shot because I'm white, but
Yeah.
that's a different story. But everybody in America has guns, pretty much.
Yeah.
So to me, I think owning a gun is like, do you really want to project onto the world? I think it's one of the most efficient ways to tell people that you have a really small penis.
So what if I have a gun?
Yeah.
Penis envy.
True.
People don't have a very big deal.
Well, the MRA argument is probably that women shouldn't have guns because they're women, so it just wouldn't be right. That would be the MRA kind of position.
You're sort of really lucky that they're banned in the UK, because in the US it's like super messed up with gun marketing to women. Everything is like it's just like pink guns and like pink gun carrying cases.
Really?
And
I'm not going to lie to you. I own a pink gun.
yeah. and they have they have guns for children and stuff too. Like the United States has like a weird gun fetish.
Yeah.
To be 100% honest, like I'm okay. I can understand if you're owning it for self-defense or if you've got a practical reason for owning a gun.
that's acceptable to me, but it's more along the lines of people who have what you call it, there's army rifles and stuff like that, and
Like assault
AK-47s.
rifles, automatics, and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of stuff is sort of like, are you just why do you need to own that?
You
Why do you
don't.
need
No
to?
one needs to own that.
Well, even criminals though in the UK don't have assault weapons. Like they use
It's the
sawn-off
freedoms.
shotguns. They use sawn-off shotguns. Like if someone robs a bank in the UK, they use a sawn-off shotgun. They don't.
Fucking liberals trying to take my guns.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer.
You see, for me, it'd be like if someone said, "Oh, you fucking liberals trying to take our guns," I'd be like, "Yeah, because you're nuts. Of course, I'm trying to take your guns. You're a lunatic. I mean, why would I not want to take your guns off you?"
This was a huge thing for me like a year ago, because my grandfather died, and I didn't know this, but he had like 20 rifles and a couple shotguns and a few handguns that like nobody knew about, just like sitting in a gun safe somewhere that had just had been found out, which was just like a total shock to at least my family and a few other people, but not the like state executors or whatever they call them. But that was like totally shocking to me. But like that, that kind of like would qualify as that sort of like arsenal of weapons.
Yeah.
Even though he was like 90 and like decrepit and didn't take care of them and stuff, but
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I mean, as well, in America, like we're always hearing about shootings, like mass shootings and high school shootings and everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the UK, the last shooting I remember in the UK was Dunblane, and that was in 1996, maybe, and that was a huge thing. Everyone shot it. That was what led to a even tighter rule on guns in the UK. I don't know where this guy had got a gun. The rules were slightly slacker in those days, but they are even tighter now. And even then, guns are not a standard thing for anyone to own. Anyway, they never have been. But that incident tightened up rules even more. And I think, is it Andy Murray, tennis player? Sage, is that the guy I'm thinking?
Yeah, Andy Murray.
He was a student at Dunblane, the school, wasn't he? And he survived the shooting, and he went on to be a famous tennis player. But yeah, that incident was just shook the whole of the British Isles, because we were just like, what the hell? Like some guy has just walked into a school and shot a load of kids, and we hear about that all the time. It's just we're hearing about it all the time. That was like in the 90s, and that totally shook the shit out of us. Even now, people still talk about that. Like it's, people haven't got over it.
yeah, they are so common in the U.S. now that like we've just become like totally desensitized to it. Like since Newtown, Connecticut, which was in like 2012, whenever like anybody hears about a school shooting, it's like, oh well, like how many people were killed? Is like the first question. It's like, well, was it less than like 20 kids? And then after that, it's like, oh, okay. And then everybody moves on, and like nothing changes. Like no one cares.
Yeah, I mean,
People kind of freaked out after Sandy Hook, but nothing.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, at a certain point, you've got to start to have more pragmatic approach to gun control and stuff. But yeah, I mean, how would you even begin to do something like that in America? I mean, it was done in Australia, and it was quite hard for them to implement gun control. But how would you do that in America? Because I think that's way too difficult, especially with the political powers at B working against any sort of like sensible gun control. I think at the moment in America, you guys just need some sensible rules and sensible regulations. You don't need to ban them outright. Just have some sensible.
Like what was done in Australia, it just wouldn't. And it's just like there's even the sensible, like we should get, like we need to stop gun show loophole thing, which is that you can sell guns without a background check. Like that stuff just like doesn't pass in the House, and it's because of the Tea Party, and that's just like that's like political bullshit. That's ridiculous to get into. And there's like a bunch of gun manufacturers that have lobbyists that cause problems for that too.
And the
Against any sort of sensible gun regulation in the United States.
Yeah, and the weapons industry as well. I mean, it's so crazy that you guys don't even stop selling weapons to Al Qaeda and ISIS.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
nuts.
fucked up.
Hmm. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these weapons aren't hunting weapons either. They are assault weapons. These are designed for killing people. They're not designed for
the thing a lot of the people who will like talk about those will say is it's just like, well, they'll point to like other hunting rifles that are like semi-automatic, and like the only difference is like cosmetic stuff. It's like, well, okay, I sort of get the point that you're trying to make. Like, I don't really agree. Like, I think the problem with gun violence in the United States, and I think statistics bear this out, is like handguns is the major problem that we have. It's not like AR-15s and those sorts of weapons. It's been forever since I've actually talked with anybody about gun control.
I take it it's very hard to have a very sensible conversation about it in America.
It totally is.
Yeah, we have the right to bear arms. That's all they'll say. Second Amendment.
I've got bear arms.
Yeah.
All right, to bear arms. I know Michael Moore is a dick, but I do find it funny in, I think it's Bowling for Columbine, where he interviews that loopy guy, and he's going on about his right to bear arms. And he's going, I've got the right to bear arms, and he goes, your arms means weapons. It doesn't say guns. And he goes, well, what else? And he said, do you think you should be allowed to keep weapons-grade plutonium at your house? And he says, no, I think there should be restrictions on that. And you think, well, if there can be restrictions on that, why can't there be restrictions on guns? You know, the right to bear arms, if the right to bear arms doesn't extend to weapons-grade plutonium, why does it have to extend to guns? Why can't it be limited to certain types of weaponry?
Yeah, like that's a huge issue with court cases too, because our Supreme Court has decided that, like, there are some like left-leaning people who will try to argue that like, because the way it's worded in our Constitution is something about a well-regulated militia, and our Supreme Court has decided that with that, like, what the Second Amendment grants with their interpretation of the Constitution means that you do have an individual right to bear arms, which I personally think is correct. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think that they're... go ahead.
I was going to say about the because this just reminded me of it, the whole subject of the well-regulated militia. There's an episode of Penn and Teller's Bullshit where they're talking about the right to bear arms in a well-regulated militia, and they obsess with the comma in the sentence. And basically what they're saying is that it says, to ensure a well-regulated militia, the right of the people to bear arms should not be infringed, and they're trying to argue that the meaning of that is that the militia is the British Army, and they were fighting the militia, and therefore the people should own arms to fight the British Army, which is of course false, because a militia isn't an army. A militia is a group of citizens. I think
it's meaningless. It's meaningless now as well, because the whole point of this was to, should the government ever become tyrannical, the people can rise up and take down the tyrannical government. But the government now has like Apache helicopters with like Doc Ock.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of hillbillies with some handguns is not going to do jack shit against that.
Yeah, it's gone way past that too. Like now it's like Predator drones with Hellfire missiles. It's like nice 12-gauge shotgun, you redneck. Like 20,000 pounds of pure freedom. Like.
Guys, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Actually. just need to
All right.
the restroom.
I think most Americans don't really understand how tyranny works. Like, tyranny is very rarely something that the government does and no one can do anything about it. 99% of the time, it's a grassroots movement that gets democratic support, and it uses complacency and fear to basically, make itself powerful. And I think a lot of libertarians have this idea in their head that it will be 99% of the population against something, and the government just enforcing it anyway, which is of course completely false. I mean, if the trouble with what America has now is that they've got an armed population, but the armed population is never really going to fight the government because they've always got something else that's worth living for, no matter how tyrannical the government gets.
Yeah.
No, see, like, you lost me at democracy. Like, I don't exactly know what that means. All I know is Glenn Beck told me taxes are tyranny.
The whole taxation is theft thing really gets up my goat. 'Cause that's just so stupid. But it's like one of those truthisms that everyone swallows.
Well, yeah,
You do not even know, Sage.
Yeah, I had someone came on my video, one of my videos, and they said, that I didn't accept taxation as theft, and I said that's not true. Of course, taxation is theft. Taxation is taking money with force. The point is theft always immoral? Like, we have the age-old question: if a man steals a loaf of bread to feed his starving family, is it immoral? And like the argument. They assume that they attach a buzzword to something and they make an ethical argument based entirely on emotion, and they don't appreciate that rational people can actually say, yeah, it's theft, but maybe the entire point of government, the official political science definition, is a monopoly on the legitimate use of violence. So people who support the government, if they're being academic, don't shy away from the fact that the government ultimately is a violent, forceful organisation. What's the alternative? Everyone being violent, everyone being forceful.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the thing is, you do actually get something in return for your paying.
Exactly.
Taxes. Yeah. You get infrastructure, and you get support. If you're out in some foreign country, you'll get helped out by the government or whatever. But the simple fact is that you get something for your taxes, and you're not. If you say taxation is theft, then you're just gonna get me really annoyed, because how else? How else do we build roads? How else do we build infrastructure? How else do you? How are you gonna register to create a company if you don't have a government?
I mean, yeah,
the free market will do it though.
The market has done
you gotta read Rothbard, man.
The age-old argument is, of course, that without.
I can't say this.
Yeah, I know. The age-old argument is that you can't have a business and you can't have any prosperity without civilization. So ultimately anyone who runs a massive business and then says, I don't want to pay taxes, is basically someone who's saying, I've exploited all of the civilization, all of the structure, in order to build up a market and fund my enterprise, and now I don't want to give anything back so people can do the same. And if anything, that's theft. To be like, I'm going to take everything that people have built up and I'm not going to give anything back. That's theft.
So large corporations that use HSBC to avoid tax payment, they're sort of they're on your shit list as well. Yes, because they're on mine. They're on mine. If I was legitimately in charge and had actual real power, I would do my best to end that. But it's very difficult and complicated. Solutions would have to be enacted to get rid of all this tax avoidance, and simple rhetoric wouldn't be enough. You'd actually need some real economists trying to back that up as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay. Okay, what are people's opinions of tofu?
I love tofu.
Same here. I mean, it's a cliche, but it's a really nice cliche. I think. I mean,
It
on
just
the one
tastes.
hand, yeah, go on.
People that are not like vegetarian or vegan, I guess, they say, "Oh, tofu is so gross," and they've eaten it like raw, like not cooked in anything.
Yeah,
Like it tastes like whatever you put it in. So like if you cook it with like Thai food, it's really good. I mean.
Yes, people who don't like it probably haven't had it cooked properly. That's the thing. I mean, I eat tofu and I think it's a cliche, but it's a really nice cliche. It's like, on the one hand, I don't want to play into this cliche, but at the same time, it's really good if you cook it right. If you cook it with onions and stuff, it's really good.
I'm
You can
more
crumble it.
I'm more partial to soy stuff myself.
Tofu is soy.
It is?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
I
a
didn't know
curd. It's a curd of soybeans.
Oh, huh.
Yes, it's what if you curd soybeans, you get tofu. That's what it is.
Yeah. I can't get tofu where I live, but I've had it once or twice.
Hang on, you live in London, don't you?
No, I don't live in London. I live outside of London.
Ah.
So
Without, obviously, I understand if you don't want to give your complete location away, but roughly where?
in Berkshire.
Berkshire. Oh, cool. I have relatives from Berkshire.
Hmm.
Isn't that a nice story? No, my relatives used to live in Reading. They've all moved to different areas now, but is there a Holland and Barrett near where you live?
Yeah, there is, but it's very small. It's very small.
Yeah, but Holland and Barrett is also vegan food. They do like tofu and fake cheese and fruit bars and nut bars and Holland, do they not have anything decent in Holland and Barrett?
Well, in my Holland and Barrett, it's just protein powders and alertness pills and stuff. Yeah, and the thing is, I've got a really massive supermarket in where I live as well, like a gigantic one. No tofu.
That's bad. But no, tofu is good. I'm surprised Holland and Barrett don't have it. But I suppose if it's a small one, then yeah. But that's where I go for a lot of stuff like that.
Order online.
Yes, order online.
That's what I do. Ordering online is great because they gave me a free box of biscuits by accident, which is I got given 360 biscuits and 2 boxes of tea. The worst thing is the 2 boxes of tea had Red Nose Day written on them, so I kind of just assumed that they were all for a charity event. But I got free biscuits, so.
Well, there you go.
Free biscuits.
Yeah. For our American viewers, by the way, biscuits are cookies.
Yeah.
Thanks, I was confused.
Yes, not scones or. The thing Americans call biscuits is more like savoury scones, from what I can gather. That's what they look like.
It's like a buttery breakfast bread.
They're like bready little buttery rolls.
Oh, no, that's bollocks, right.
2 inches around.
Biscuits are cookies. Yeah. Biscuits are what you call cookies. They are hard, flat things you have for pudding or dessert. Sorry. So yeah, and you can dunk them in your tea.
Wait, these are cookies. Can you?
Oh yeah. We have been Americanized and we've started calling them cookies. And we even have certain types of crisps that will chips. Even though chips are what you call French fries.
Yeah, we have certain chips called fries. You can go to you won't get funny looks when going to McDonald's and going, I'll have some fries.
Well,
is that like
McDonald's though? That's because it's McDonald's though. It's like
we don't call them freedom fries.
Okay, hold on. No one in America calls them freedom fries.
Who calls them freedom fries?
Yeah, yes, you do. I read it in a Michael Moore book. Yes, you do.
Okay, so like after 9/11, maybe for like a month, but I've never met a single person.
No.
Let's call them breeding
Fun
brats.
fact, right? Chips were invented in Belgium, okay? Right? So it does not speak well of Americans. They call them French fries. It just suggests that you think all of Europe is France. It's like, Belgium, France, it's all the same.
Wait, it's not.
It is, pretty much.
Yeah.
You guys all talk funny, so you're all the same.
They were invented in Belgium, though, chips. They are a Belgian thing. And
They were both invaded by Germany. Like, I don't get what the difference is.
what? Chips are not invented in Germany.
No, I
He's doing
said Belgium and France.
Oh, wait, with you, Belgium. Okay.
World War One joke.
With you, yeah. That's how chips became popular, though, because British soldiers during the First World War, when they went on leave, they would go and stay in a French village and would eat chips. And they did that though because they didn't want to send soldiers home to Britain, because if they went home, they would tell everyone in Britain how shitty the conditions were in the trenches. And they didn't want anyone doing that. So when they were on leave, they would be sent to stay with a family in France.
How awesome all the poison gas attacks were.
Oh yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, it was always probably. It's like they didn't want anyone in the UK knowing how shitty the conditions they were making our soldiers live in. So yeah, it's bad. Like even the forms they had to fill in when they wrote home, they were given a form and they had to it was written for them, and they would fill in the gaps with like their name. It'd be like, hello, and they'd write their wife's name in or whatever, and then they'd be like, blah, 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 blah. Then they'd write their own name, and it was like written for them because they didn't want to say, hi, we're living in trenches, we're getting gangrene, we're getting bombed with mustard gas and whatever have you. This is shit. Our government is a hideous, awful institution that treats its citizens like garbage. They didn't want to have anyone write that home, so they totally doctored this, and that was why they didn't let people go home for leave. They would just let them go and stay with a family in France. But that's how chips became popular.
Huh.
So yeah.
Like, I'd never heard that about World War One.
Oh yeah, it was awful. And one of the reasons, by the way, when we started hearing all these stories when World War II was going on, or before it happened, when all these stories about Jews being herded into concentration camps came out, no one in the UK believed it, and they didn't believe it because they'd been lied to by the government before. You see, the government had totally bullshitted during World War One. So when all these stories came out about Jews being herded into concentration camps, everyone in the UK was like, yeah, whatever, we've heard this before, you've lied to us before, we know this is just you trying to make us hate Germans, we don't believe you, and for a long time people in the UK did not believe this at all because they'd been lied to by the government before, and it took a while. So it is a kind of boy who cried wolf kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Atrocities.
really interesting.
Exaggerating atrocities was a necessary part of war propaganda before the Nazis, and then you could just be honest about the atrocities, and that was sufficient. But I mean, one of the things about World War One is, of course, that I think every single country, other than Serbia, none of their high-ranking generals had been on a battlefield. Because up until, since 1870, the Russian War, there had not been a war in Europe. And basically they're all shit. And that's why Serbia completely destroyed the Austrians repeatedly. But one of the big things that I think, obviously a lot of people died in World War One, but 1 million died in the first 4 weeks. Because in one particular instance, the French sent out soldiers in bright blue uniforms with a marching band across a long field, and the Germans, who were the only really industrial power in terms of their warfare, just shelled them. And completely decimated them, and that was a thing until about 4 or 5 weeks into the war when they started building trenches. So yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of incompetence was the reason why they tried to keep most of the things that they completely fucked up under wraps.
Mm. Indeed.
Yeah, I had heard that there was a lot of like just like this sort of like where technology meets the cultural expectations of war with World War One.
I have a vegetarian tie-in, by the way. There's an article I read in the Vegetarian magazine, the Vegetarian Society magazine, a while ago. It was a guy. He was one of these very early vegetarians in the UK, and he said while he was in the army, he would often swap his meat for other people's veg, or swap his pudding, his dessert. He would swap his dessert for extra veg or whatever, so that he could maintain his vegetarian diet.
Aww.
But this is before this is long before anything like meat substitutes or anything like that came in. Yeah, but he did serve in the army because I read it was an interesting article I read of his in the magazine. And apparently, I mean, before he was in the army, apparently he said. He became vegetarian, and his family were quite supportive of it. And they made a sort of separate dish. Like when everyone else was having roast duck, they'd make a separate thing for him. And his mum always called it Dick's Duck because that was his name. It was just like sort of this kind of probably an early kind of nut roast, actually, that kind of thing. Because obviously in the UK, the roast dinner is a big traditional thing that we have. It's the traditional Sunday roast is, and then yeah, but that was just interesting, like reading about someone, in the very early days of this. I mean, fun fact. I mean, the word vegan, by the way, comes from Yorkshire, in the UK. That's where it was invented. I think veganism as a diet itself. Before that, the word vegan. The word vegetarian was used quite broadly to refer to a few different diets, but veganism was the actual word vegan was invented in Yorkshire. I can't remember the guy's name, but he died. He died a few years ago, but he was like well into his 90s, and he was like the first official vegan. He had invented the term, and he basically took the beginning of the word vegetarian and the end of the word vegetarian, and stuck them together, and that's how he came up with it.
That's awesome.
Cool. Hey Dave, how you doing? Hello? Hello? Hello?
He's
Yeah.
muted himself.
He's muted himself. I was just talking about the origins of the word vegan.
Andy, his name is Donald Watson. Just looked it up.
That's him, yes, I think. A guy from Yorkshire, does it say?
I think so.
Yeah, Yorkshire in the UK, yeah. Yorkshire, by the way, is a big meat-eating place. It has all sorts of dishes that are just meaty as hell. But he was the first official. People had the vegan diet before that, but he invented the word vegan. He was like the first official vegan, and he died. Where does it say he died? Not long ago.
Hold on, let me pull it up again.
A few years ago.
2005.
2005, yeah, and he was in his 90s, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was 95.
95, yeah. He lived a long life because of veganism, basically. From that ultra healthy
old dude
lifestyle, yeah. But he sort of invented the formalized concept of veganism. Even if I think people had been vegan before, like whenever if you read anything by Gandhi, whenever he talks about vegetarianism, he is talking about veganism. It's just he calls it vegetarianism because that's all it was known as in those days. There wasn't this formalized division between the two. Like he talks at one point about how he he started drinking goat's milk and how he really regretted it because he promised his mother he would maintain a vegetarian diet. And he said, well, goat's milk is okay for vegetarians, but what he means is veganism, and he regrets that he at one point drank goat's milk. So, oftentimes, vegetarian meat. That's an interesting point as well, by the way. Famous vegetarians of history.
Wasn't Einstein?
Yeah, in his later life, yes, Einstein was a vegetarian. He became a vegetarian.
So was Hitler.
Really?
Hitler actually, I don't think Hitler was a vegetarian. Although it is one of those things.
I think that counts. If you slaughter people, that's like people are animals. Sorry about you, but.
Well, I don't think he was.
Yeah, I don't think he ate them.
Well, okay, come on, guys.
He wasn't. No, but he wasn't a vegetarian. This is the thing, right? As I understand it, because Gandhi was a vegetarian at the time, and that was quite popular. I think Hitler's PR people wanted him to. They thought, oh, maybe if we tell everyone you're a vegetarian, it'll make you look as cool as Gandhi. Which is really weird. I know this is weird now, the idea that Hitler might have wanted to look like Gandhi, but at the time, you've got to remember this is the time it was.
Yeah,
Didn't they,
it makes sense.
The swastika is an Indian symbol, which I think means peace. So it almost makes sense that he would take sort of Indian ideas about peace and then be like, oh, vegetarianism.
But as I understand
it says.
Like Hitler used to preach vegetarianism, but he didn't practice it. I mean, as I understand it, he used to sort of tell people they shouldn't eat meat, but he still did it. And he took a lot of medicines that were tested on animals as well.
It says in the Wikipedia article he didn't call himself a vegetarian, or he ate meat until 1937, and then he and his PR people didn't start the vegetarian thing until 1938.
Yeah. That's about right, yeah. So they thought, oh, hang on, if we market you as a vegetarian, everyone will think you're as good as Gandhi.
Right.
Okay. What is your guys' thoughts on animal testing and stuff?
Wrong.
We should test on pedophiles.
It's a tough spot for me because it's like I don't think you should test on animals for like cosmetics and stuff, but I don't really have a problem with animal testing for like medicines.
Well, though, this is the thing. It's not actually that useful either. This is the thing. Animal testing doesn't really bring about many useful results. It's like
for medicine.
I mean, no, it doesn't. Polio, right? The polio vaccine, some people will argue, oh, the polio vaccine was discovered through animal testing. And I would say, well, actually, what happened was they kept testing and testing and testing and testing on animals and weren't getting anywhere. And when they stopped doing it, that's when they started getting somewhere. When they kept saying, oh, this doesn't work on monkeys. It's like, yeah, because humans are not monkeys. I mean, they are, okay, they are a type of primate, but, you know what I mean? It's not the same species. You know, if you want to know what something does to humans, you need to test it on humans. So that's one of the things. So animal testing is, as far as I'm aware, mostly useless. That's one of the big reasons for it being bad as well. Even if you aren't particularly concerned with animal welfare, it's still not very useful.
I'm kind of against animal testing on stuff like on cosmetics as well. Sort of also against unnecessary animal cruelty, basically. Like, I don't like the idea of animals being horrifically treated for no reason whatsoever. And even if it is for a reason, I mean, I think what it is until they they're currently coming up with this computer model which has got the human genome modeled into it, and they'll be able to test the effects of potential drugs on this human model. Until that is fully up and running and is usable by most companies, then I think some forms of animal testing is justified. But until then, like when that becomes popular, I don't think
that animal testing is a great thing. When that becomes popular, sorry, the model thing, then I think any sort of animal testing will be completely unjustified.
To me, and why I'm vegan and stuff, animals are like the same thing as people to me. I guess, I mean, people think I'm weird when I say that, but I don't think we have a right to think that we are above them in such a way that we can, test on them and stuff. So I'm always going to be against it, I think.
Well, I think.
Sorry, I was just wondering on the subject of animal testing. What's the thoughts on sort of recreational research regarding, like, so for example, most children will cut open a cow's heart or something as part of biology class. Or certainly I did.
I think that's wrong myself.
The other thing, I mean.
Why can't they just?
Yeah, I mean, well, what you call it, the medical industry, sorry, for doctors and stuff, they cut open like cadavers, and they have a look inside, just do their testing on those, to learn. But I can see in terms of learning, it just depends. If it's
most teachers though get them from like the slaughterhouses or whatever that like, I mean, they're either going to throw them away or give them to a teacher. So I mean, I don't know, they're there whether you use them or not. They're not going to increase if more people start using them. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, what are you guys' thoughts on like waste products, like kidneys and things like eyes and stuff, and things that people don't really like eating from animals, and also other animal products like byproducts. What are your thoughts on that? The use of those.
I wouldn't eat anything like that. No, obviously. It's gross.
Just gross.
I think sage means like in like biology classes and stuff, though. Not
really? You shouldn't kill things just so you can dissect them. I mean, I understand the point of studying the carcass of something that's died. Like, we do that with human beings, don't we? Like, when someone dies, if they've donated their body to science or whatever, we might study their body to help us learn things. I don't like the idea of killing things, though, just so we can study them. I think when things are going to die anyway, why do we need to kill things to study their carcasses? I suppose that's what I tend to think. But Dave, do you have any thoughts?
Regarding which part?
Like dissecting like animal bits of animal in science classes and things.
Well, see, that's the weird thing. Like, when I was in school, we actually didn't do hearts or anything like that. We actually had worms one time, and then I know we had frogs, and I believe it was anatomy. They actually had cats that were euthanized.
Oh.
At one of the local I know. I'm a cat person, so that really kind of depressed me. But I mean, I'm not against it. I mean, it's something that's going to happen regardless, unless everyone just stops eating meat. So I mean, if it's for learning, I would say it's fine. But to me, it's kind of a bizarre thing because most of these kids are not going to be doing anything with this knowledge. It's I mean, like, if you're dissecting cadavers in medical school, okay, that's actually contributing to something that you pretty much need. But to just do it in high school, I mean, plus some kids, they kind of creep me out with it. Like, they get like a little too excited and kind of turned on by it. It's a little bizarre.
Turned on by it. Yeah, if you get turned on by dissecting cow hearts, yeah.
I mean, seriously, I mean, some of these guys are like, man, look at this thing, and they're like there was this old soda commercial. I think it was for like orange soda. Like this kid was like eating this frog he was dissecting. I'm like, I think there's actually some kids who were. No, I'm not making that up.
That's an advert for Orange Jade or something.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I have an eidetic memory with like commercials for some reason, but I remember that one.
Why did they think people would be more likely to drink this?
It was supposed to be like the kid was ballsy or something. He was ballsy or something. It's like he asked for another one and he was eating it. I don't know.
It's weird as hell. Like they thought, oh, how can we market orange soda? We'll just have a kid eat a frog. That is
so funny.
So weird.
I can definitely agree with what David's saying. I think like in college, like if you're in college or I don't have as much of a problem with it. I don't think it's really necessary in high school though. Like when I was in high school, I didn't dissect anything. There was an option to dissect like a pig fetus, but it was for an AP class. But what we did dissect, like dissect in quotes, we took apart a piece of owl poop and then like took the bones out of it.
Yeah.
I did that.
Like, yeah, that was our like dissection that we did in our biology class. Which and that's like totally different than like I'm gonna cut apart this heart.
We never dissected anything. I mean, I remember one of my science teachers had a dead rat in a kind of box, and he showed us it, but it was a dead rat. I think it was just a dead rat someone had found, and I was like, okay, I suppose if you're gonna dissect anything or examine something, it's gonna be that, isn't it? But that was it. We never had to actually dissect stuff ourselves. That just wasn't.
Yeah, well, the thing for me is like I have really bad syncope, so if I see like blood, I'll like faint. So like I can't dissect anything.
Yeah, we dissected pigs, rats, snakes, frogs, eyeballs, lungs.
Oh God! And what did you learn from that?
I fucking hate high school.
Yeah. Oh God!
Don't mess with Texas, yo.
Hey, come on! I'm from Texas.
Who's from Texas?
Well, something they showed on Channel 4 over here. This was going back probably about 10 years now. They did on TV, and it was the first time they ever did this, live human dissection. I shit you not.
What?
Like an autopsy?
Yeah, they basically dissected human bodies live. They had cloths draped over the faces of these people who donated their bodies to science, just to get the dignity.
Okay, for a minute.
Basically.
Okay, that's what I thought too. I thought they were alive.
Yeah.
No.
For a minute, I thought they killed these people and then cut them apart. I was like, wait a minute, what?
There were people who donated their bodies to science, but they were doing it live on telly, and they were cutting open. They were examining the genitals and everything, and they were cutting it. They were sort of cutting open the pelvis area, and then at one point he wanted to show what the inside of a testicle looked like, so we started slicing the testicle open, and the scientist guy had this German accent, and it was like, yes, now we slice open the testicle. We see it inside here. I had the really insensitive, kind of stereotypically not very politically correct kind of mad scientist voice. Like, this slice open the testicle. If you look inside here, and he was slicing open this guy's bollock. And he showed us this cross section bollock, and I was just watching it going, oh God! But I kept watching, and I even texted some guy I knew and said, "Oh, turn on Channel 4." But it was so weird though because it was people, but
it's like they had a train wreck.
But they had a towel draped over the people's faces because. Obviously, it just protects dignity. People, these are obviously real people. They've donated their bodies to science, though. So I didn't really feel bad about the fact they were being dissected because they had signed this off in their will or whatever. But Even
Well, 'cause
so,
some-
it was just so gross to watch because they were just like, slicing into it, and because it's a person, it's just so much more brings it home. And
Well, if they didn't cover their faces, some random guy might be watching and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, that was my friend." Like, I
Yeah,
know what Jim's balls
yeah.
look like.
But it was so weird. I mean, I don't think it was wrong what they did, but it was weird.
Yeah.
But it's not wrong because these people had donated their bodies to science. They had said in their will, after I die, cut me the fuck up. But it's still weird to watch. It was weird, but I kept watching it, so I'm probably weird as well. But they were cutting open the bollocks to show how a bollock works, and it's just like, oh god, it was so it was like, oh god.
I don't know if this like exhibit ever toured in the UK, but there was this thing that was the Boston Museum of Science a few years ago. There was like it was like the human bodies something, or rather, there was all these people who had donated their bodies to science, and what they'd done is they'd like taken the skin off of them and like posed them in different positions and stuff. So yeah,
They had that in Dallas too.
yeah. So you could see like so you could see all of this different people's lungs and stuff out. It was like kind of eerie to walk around.
There was
One
of them was a pregnant woman, and like her body was like cut in half. You could see like the fetus inside of her, and like.
Oh, that's that's gross.
Yeah, it was fascinating, but really eerie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's weird. It's parading it round, I think, is the weird thing, isn't it? It's rather than just showing it to science students or whatever. It's like parading this stuff around for the general public is.
Yeah, it was like this art show meets like Saw meets like.
Making it into art, I think it's just weird. It's like making dead people art. That's just so fucked
I kind of
up.
want to be art when I die.
You want to be art when you die?
I want someone to pay money to come see me.
Just give me to a group of necrophiliacs. I'd be happy with that.
Or maybe not.
Yeah.
Prostituting from the dead.
Oh.
Hey,
You can't stop me.
I'm dead.
Oh. God. I don't know. Oh man, that's bad.
Maybe they can do what they did with Jeremy Bentham's body and put you on display at some college.
Mm-hmm.
What's that all about?
Oh, I know. There's actually there's a comic. Have you seen? Oh, there's.
Existential comics?
Yeah. It's when Bentham wakes up and he attacks Sam Harris and he's like, Sam, I have to kill you so I can use your organs to save 5 other people.
It's really good.
That's a
Greater aggregate good.
Andy, you don't know about this?
Is that because he's a utilitarian?
Yeah.
Right.
That is very funny, yes.
And then,
Do you know who Jeremy Bentham is?
No.
He's basically same-ish. You know,
He's another utilitarian.
He invented utilitarianism.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, so the weird thing about him is that the college, I think it's either the college he went to or like the college his son went to or something, they have his body, like his actual body, and they have it in like a case. But they don't have the head because it used to be a prank that the students would steal the head and play football with it, like not American football. Like.
Oh, good. Okay. I was worried for a minute. Now I know that it's European soccer. I'm relieved. Okay. I hate to think people were playing American football.
So it's a wax head, but it's still his body that's there. It's just like super creepy. But yeah, the existential comics where Bentham comes back from the dead to kill Sam Harris is super good.
Yeah, to save people. Yeah, that's that's everything that's wrong with utilitarianism. Though.
Yeah.
It's just the idea that, as I said, that they'd respect utilitarianism a lot more if the people who advocate it were actually willing to offer up their own bodies and organs to save all these people to maximize happiness or whatever. Yeah. Weird.
Like a couple months ago, Sam Harris made this tweet that was like, "Be wary when people tell you that they know more about your position than you do." And it was like, "Oh my God, Sam Harris, really? Like, you sure? Is that what you mean?"
Doesn't he like do that all the time with other people?
Yes.
Oh yeah. It's like.
Has anyone seen the Sam Harris William Lane Craig debate?
No.
It is
I've
it
seen
is
bits of it.
fascinating. I did a response to it, but it's fascinating because he just doesn't address it. The question is, can God provide an objective moral ontology? So, can we know what's right and wrong because of God? And all Sam Harris talks about is religious people have done evil things. We've got no reason to believe God exists, and the Bible's confusing. He never addresses anything about how any type of meta ethics.
Yeah, doesn't actually take on the question. Yeah.
It's
Well, it's the thing that bothers me about Sam Harris is like he has a undergrad degree in philosophy from like Stanford, which is an Ivy League, but it's one of the best schools in the U.S. So it's like I don't understand what happened to him, but he's just like so bad.
Money.
Yeah.
Money.
Yes. He is the worst horse.
Like I know how he got in.
He is the worst of the four horsemen, I think, in every respect. Can't debate very well.
I think Hitchens has been pretty lackluster recently.
Oh!
I don't know. It's just like he lies there, not doing anything else.
Oh dear. Oh man. But anyway,
I think Dennett's the best. I think we can all agree Dennett's the best because he's.
I think Dennett is the best only because I don't know as much about him, so he
Well,
has
he,
a bit of doubt.
Well, so there are a few things going for Dennett. One, he's an actual philosopher. Two, he doesn't have a Twitter.
Oh,
So 2 points in his favor already.
And also, he criticizes Sam Harris. He writes basically, Sam Harris's book Free Will.
Yeah.
Where he basically oh my god, it's so annoying. If you ever meet someone who says Sam Harris's theory that we don't have free will, and Sam Harris's theory is the theory that we don't have free will since the beginning of time. All actions have prior cause. But obviously it's such an old argument, and Sam Harris just brings it up as if he's the first person to ever think of it.
Right, he's just parroting Strawson.
Yeah, exactly. And Dennett basically has written a response to him that pretty much calls him out on not addressing any of the. But the worst person with that, it's insane. Stefan Molyneux.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously his opinions on ethics and politics are ridiculous, but his opinions on metaphysics and free will are so ridiculous.
Are you gonna bring up the Joe Rogan interview thing?
No, actually, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that.
So Stefan Molyneux's free will thing was he was like, it was something like, it's like, so you don't go out and argue with the clouds, therefore free will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
something
oh my
like
God,
that.
yeah.
It was just like, what the fuck are you saying?
I know what it is. It's free. He says free will is like me claiming the moon doesn't exist and then going out and trying to tell the moon it doesn't exist. And I think the argument he's trying to make there, and it's a really dumb argument, is basically the idea that if you don't believe in free will, then your argument's invalid because you only don't believe in free will because you were predetermined to not believe in free will. Like that's it. But the thing is, what's insane about Stefan Molyneux is usually he makes like a bad argument. But when it comes to free will, he doesn't even make an argument. Basically, what he says is we do have free will, but compatibilism is bullshit, and quantum mechanics has nothing to do with the mind. And then the thing is, what I was thinking of is he was asked on his radio show the obvious question, which is if all physical actions have a prior cause, and you think that human actions are independent of prior cause, then how do you explain that? And he basically says, if you think about philosophy and if you believe hard enough, then your mind goes beyond physics. If you just type into YouTube Stefan Molyneux says mind transcends physics, it's there. But it's insane.
He's like really funny, but also scary at the same time because he's a cult leader.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
His little radio show, he's always talking. It's like, disown your parents, man. You can like join my cult. He's such a creep.
Yeah. I'm really disappointed with Joe Rogan for giving him a platform. Just disappointed with Joe Rogan full stop now.
I don't like Joe Rogan anyway, but yeah, like Stefan Molyneux is like my least favorite of the anarcho-capitalists who are popular, which is like saying something.
Yes. It's a bit like saying worst of the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, like he beat out Rothbard and Mises, like, and Hayek, like all three of those guys, like, yeah, Walter Block, like a bunch of people. Stefan Molyneux is worse than all of them.
Do you know Adam Kokesh?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you read his book Freedom?
No.
Because I read it and I reviewed it for fun. Like it was just entertaining. But it's weird. One of the things I've noticed, they always talk about parenting. Stefan Molyneux talks about it a lot, and Julie Borowski talks about it, and all of them. I'm trying to think. There's like if you go onto Mises.org, I think it is. They do have a bit of an online library. I don't think it's not quite as good as Marxist.org, where they literally have basically everything you could ever possibly want to read on Marxism, because like property rights and things like that. If Mises.org have to be very careful about what they publish, because if they publish something that's under intellectual property, then they end up looking like massive hypocrites, because they're basically stealing from hardworking authors.
The best part about that is some of those ANCAPs don't even think like IP laws are valid. Hans Hermann Hope doesn't think IP laws are valid at all.
Steph doesn't think IP laws are valid, but he had True Vibes, who was a YouTuber who was very critical of Stefan Molyneux, shut down for violating YouTube's copyright.
That's really funny.
So and then his justification for it was that he thought that True Shibes was encouraging bullying, and you think this from the guy who literally tells people that their parents are murderers because they support taxation.
Yeah. Oh god.
Crazy.
I could go on about libertarians all night. That's like.
Yeah. I did have a question about vegetarianism.
Okay.
Which was it was obviously the way humans act economically has negative effects on the environment. It kills lots of animals, and I was basically wondering, like, at what point would you say the negative effect we have on the environment for animals is almost functionally equivalent and like equally immoral to outright killing animals to eat them? Like how concerned do we need to be about killing animals through economic actions?
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, as in, at what point is he talking about as where something is as wrong as?
Yeah, I mean, like, so based on the same parameters that you consider eating meat to be wrong, at what point does it come anything to
other human activity?
Chop down a rainforest to build a ethanol plantation or something.
Yeah,
a corn plantation.
We touched on this a bit before when I mentioned palm oil.
Oh, okay. I think I might have missed that.
No, but it's good. It's good you brought that up because palm oil. Are you familiar with palm oil?
Yes, I've seen lots of people talk about it and it being wrong, but I only know like the cursory facts about it.
Yeah, because a number of foods that contain palm oil will still be listed as vegetarian or vegan, which technically they are because they don't contain any meat or dairy or whatever, but they may contain palm oil, and palm oil is usually obtained through deforestation and destruction of orangutan habitats. I was saying my opinion is we should try and avoid palm oil unless it's sustainable palm oil, I think is the label. So if it's sustainable, it's sort of sourced a bit more responsibly. Excuse me, sorry. But yes, that is something I think if you're a vegan for ethical reasons,
Yeah.
yeah, you should take things like that into consideration.
Do you guys know what quinoa is? Do you eat quinoa, Andy?
Is it spelled Quuin?
Yeah.
I may have had it.
It's like these little grains or whatever, but anyway, especially in America, they what Americans do to get it is most of the time they go to South America and to like impoverished places where that is their like main source of like food, like quinoa is their thing, and like they'll take it from them in exchange for like shitty American junk food, and so like I don't eat quinoa that comes from South America for those reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because you're swapping it for meat, and yeah, that makes sense. I get what you put. Yeah, that if people are swapping it for hot dogs and burgers. And whatever,
Well, just like that, we're exploiting the people that live there too.
yes, the human rights issues. I mean, there's some foods I don't eat because of human rights issues as well. Like Nestle are a company I try and avoid.
Yeah, so I was going to mention Nestle.
Because they are.
They're horrible, horrible people, and I try not to have Nestle products, but.
Yeah, I try and avoid Nestle. Coke is another thing. I don't drink Coke or Fanta or any product from
I don't drink soda either.
This is very annoying because I think they make pretty much all the soft drinks.
Oh yeah, they also because of all the I'm trying to think they own Columbia Pictures, I think, or they have like a sort of very close connections with Columbia Pictures. So it's like one of the troubles of being an ethical consumer is that I mean, like, I think someone's basically shown that all companies that produce like 99%, I mean, obviously that's an accurate statistic, but a great deal of what we consume can basically be routed back to 7 conglomerates or something like that, and then everything literally comes from them. So it's so difficult to be an ethical consumer in that regard.
No, yeah, Coke are evil, though. I say Coke murder, kill, and rape. So murdering and killing is the same thing. Like they kill and rape people for, I think members of unions, trade union members in South America certainly, if they're employed by Coke, have to travel in armored cars, so they don't get shot for being because Coke have murdered people for being members of unions. And they're just such a hideous, awful corporation. I can't consume their products. It's just too. I mean, if I was stuck in the desert and I had nothing else to drink, I would probably drink Coke. But that is the extreme that I would have to be pushed to willfully consume a product for them. Because the way I see it is, I mean, I've got running water, I don't need to drink Coke. Coke is not a necessity of my life. Pepsi is similar, I think. But they take water from areas that need it as well, like third world nations. They're taking water from nations that need it, and you just think like, fuck these people, fuck them. So that, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Some of these soft drinks aren't actually vegetarian either. I think, but I don't. It's a moot point because I wouldn't drink them anyway. They are.
Well, I guess in a lot of the international economic organizations are much shittier when you look into them. Like the IMF is a really good example. They have laws about sort of privatization, which basically the privatization laws in developing countries enforced by the IMF are basically don't produce food, and that's what it amounts to. Like in Cambodia, 50% of, and I'll try and source this because it's something that I know, but 50% of all arable land in Cambodia goes towards things designed to produce ethanol, so corn and sugar and things like that. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I guess it's difficult, you know, because it's so difficult to be an ethical consumer. I think part of the problem is that there are some big states that have these corporations backed or organizations affiliated closely with states.
So I'd just like to add one thing. I'm sort of into the whole minimalism thing, which is just basically own only what you need. Don't buy stuff that you don't use, basically, and try to make the stuff that you do own last as long as possible. Now, I've got obviously there's certain bits of hypocrisy in that I do own electronics and things like that, but at the same time, I think what it is you know, in order to be part of society, you need to own these sort of things, and the best thing to do is just basically try and make things last as long as possible, and yeah, give them as little of your money as possible, and only like upgrade or whatever if you need to, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to make a sort of an argument on what we should own, then obviously socialism is sort of something that's relevant, like the idea of rejecting absentee ownership, the idea that you can own something that other people use, is I think an interesting and probably quite effective distinction to make when you think about what can be like justly owned to avoid excess. Are you owning things that you're not even going to use, that you're going to employ other people to use so that you can make huge amounts of money off it? Which I mean, obviously normally that would be an argument about economics and political philosophy, but if you're going to make sort of a spiritual argument about minimalism, then it would also be relevant.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure how spiritual my whole minimalism thing is. It's more of a like you know, just basically it feeds into my whole like we shouldn't just fall into consumerism because we're told to. Because at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff causes a lot of negative ideas in people. Like it's one of the things that's removed us. I used to be very consumeristic when I was younger, and very like I used to be into the money and the bling and the stuff. And I just, like,
The bling.
yes, I know, but
You were
I
Ali
had,
G.
yes, I was. I even talked like Ali G.
Yeah.
But
Booyaka shot.
exactly. Yeah, blood in it and that. Yeah, but yeah, it's sort of like the whole point of it is just basically that you aren't what you own. You are a distinct person with distinct characteristics, and you are actually a decent person first, and then the stuff that you own is just for utility purposes mostly.
Okay, yeah.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, I meant to include, I wanted to include spiritual in air quotes, but I only did half an air quote because I'm too lazy. So, so you might not have quite got it.
Well, that's very good. Yeah, get both those air quotes going.
Yeah.
I'm holding a mic, so I can't air quote quite so well. I don't smoke, by the way. I only have this smoker's cough because I've been a bit ill the last few days, but I'm good now. I'm well enough to drink, but I still keep coughing as though I smoke 40 a day or something. Yeah, I don't smoke, just to be clear.
Mm.
Okay, other subject I wanted to bring up, fake meat. Okay, what are people's opinions of fake meat? Because I will eat it, but I don't particularly go looking for it. But
Do you mean like?
Like synthetic meat and like
yeah,
fake ribs and stuff and sausage.
yeah, like soy sausages and veggie
Yeah.
burgers and that kind of thing. I mean,
Oh,
Oh,
I love veggie burgers.
yeah, I'm a big fan of like the veggie burger, like meat substitute stuff. Personally.
But I don't think if something tasted like really like meat, because those generally don't taste like,
yeah,
super meaty.
yeah.
So I think if something is meaty, I wouldn't like it that much.
Right,
Yeah.
like soy hot dogs, which I eat like all the time, don't taste like hot dogs at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I sometimes I have tofu wieners sometimes, and they taste. I don't think they really taste of meat particularly. They've got that kind of texture, but they taste more of whatever, like soy or whatever. But they're nice. So but I buy Linda McCartney sausages quite often. Do you guys know who Linda McCartney is or was?
Wife of Paul McCartney?
She was the wife. Yeah, she was the wife of Paul McCartney.
That's what I would have guessed.
She was the one who converted Paul McCartney to vegetarianism. Like Paul McCartney is now a famous vegetarian, but she converted him, and I think she brought out this whole range of fake meats because he'd been a meat eater before, and she thought, well, if we can make up a load of fake meat, then we can convert more people to vegetarianism. And it's Linda McCartney sausages. I mean, she's sadly deceased now, but her products are still they're fairly affordable. They're readily available, and the sausages are okay for vegans. The burgers have egg in, so I can't have them. But the sausages are good for vegans. But they're quite cheap. I buy a couple of boxes of them most weeks. They're quite cheap and they're nice. So weirdly, before I was a vegetarian, I wasn't that fussed about sausages. Before I wouldn't go out of my way to eat sausages, but since I became a vegetarian, I have eaten the fake sausages quite a lot, which is odd.
Do you have the like Morningstar brand like veggie patties and soy stuff in the UK?
I've heard of it. But no, we don't. It's not.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's like the thing that you can get. Those are like the vegetarian things you can get anywhere in the US.
Okay.
And Amy's are like little dinners that they have pre-made. Some are
Amy's.
vegetarian, some are vegan. Yeah.
I think that might be regional. I've never seen any Amy's.
I've had Amy's rice mac and cheese.
Yeah.
That's quite nice. That's pretty cool. That is available over here, but it just depends. We've got like for vegan cheeses, we have Redwood, which is actually British, even though it's called Redwood, and cheese, which is like soya cheese. When I first became a vegan, like about a million years ago, I mean, vegan cheese was very new, and a lot of it tasted really odd, but it's improved a lot. It's improved a lot over the years. It's a lot better than it used to be, and it melts now. It didn't used to melt at all. It's like if you tried to melt it, it just burnt. But now you can melt it.
Oh.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think Morningstar is vegan friendly. I'm not.
Some of the stuff
entirely
is, some
sure.
isn't.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was all vegan, and then I had one of the corn dogs, and I found out that it has like milk in it or something, and I was like freaked out.
Oh yeah. I don't.
But their veggie burgers are vegan.
Ever really.
I've heard
Make these like vegetarian black bean burgers that are delicious.
Yeah.
I've heard of Morningstar. Yeah, I don't think it's readily available over here though.
When you said fake meat, I thought you were talking about the lab grown or like the synthetic meat stuff.
That.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the thing with that stuff is, I mean, it costs something like, I don't know, like a 1,000 pound a burger currently at the moment. Like you can grow a beef burger and I just think, why do you want to do that?
That's so yeah.
That desperate to eat meat that you've got to grow it in a lab.
Right, like
Hey,
the
better
thing.
than animals.
Yeah, like the thing for me is like I don't like the way meat tastes, so I wouldn't do it.
No.
But like if cost weren't an issue, would you eat fake or not like fake, but like synthetic, like lab grown hamburgers or whatever?
Would I? I don't think I would do it though. I think I'm so into veganism now that I just wouldn't do it, even if it was growing in a lab. But there's also
Yeah.
health. There's also health to consider, and I
Right.
am also vegan for health reasons as well as ethical. So I don't know. I'm too into the vegan lifestyle to
Yeah, I get what you mean.
like that. Yeah.
It's been
Yeah.
too long, can't go back.
Yeah, I'm just too into. Yeah, I couldn't eat it, even if it was grown in. What do you think, JJ? Would you eat meat grown in a lab?
I don't. Maybe sometimes, but like the texture mostly for me, I just don't have any desire to.
No. I just it seems pointless to me. It's like we have diets right now that will work, that will reduce animals for environmental damage, and like why would we? I can't. I find it weird anyone is that desperate to eat meat.
I think it would make me sick.
Yeah.
Because like
I'd
your
be
body's not
worried.
used to processing it, and like I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. That was gonna be my other question. Have any of you like accidentally or like purposefully eaten meat and then gotten like really sick? Like that happened to me. Oh God, I think it was like 2 years ago. I accidentally had some chicken and like a couple hours later, I just like vomited and got like really sick the next day.
How did you accidentally have chicken?
One of my friends cooked me some chicken patties that they told me were the Morningstar chicken patties, and they weren't Morningstar chicken patties. It was real chicken patties. I think I think it was an honest mistake, and they like gave me the wrong ones. They weren't just like fucking with me.
No.
But because I noticed like halfway through, because it tasted the same to me, because you put so much shit on it, like you don't even taste it after a while. But I got like halfway through it and I was like, this doesn't taste like the fake chicken thing. And he was like, oh, I think I might have given you the wrong thing. I was like, oh, great. And then like a couple hours later, I threw up.
My little brother put a piece of, before I was vegan when I was vegetarian, he put a piece of pepperoni under the cheese on my pizza. Yeah, I threw up.
Oh.
Yeah, like I hadn't had any meat in like 3 years. It wasn't just like I'd stopped for like a couple weeks, so I was just like.
That was. Well, I haven't noticed that. I mean, I was vegan for about 3 months solid, and then I started eating meat after that, and I didn't really notice anything. But then I don't eat that much meat to begin with. Yeah. I was asked.
Sorry, go on.
No, go for it. I was just umming.
Oh, it can be weird. I think I've never since I've been vegetarian, I've never eaten meat. I did occasionally. I think I've accidentally eaten stuff with some dairy in it. That was early on though in my veganism, but I've not had any problems like that. But yeah, I think I couldn't eat meat now because it would just be all my instincts are now programmed to not do it. They're so programmed to not eat stuff like this that it just wouldn't. I couldn't physically do it. You know what I mean? It would be even if I was starving to death. I think if I was starving to death, I could probably do it, but I would really have to fight all my instincts to to even to do it. And Yeah.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
I think that's the thing, but no, I think it would probably, it probably would make me ill, or it can make you kind of trippy apparently if you do that, because you've not had it for a while. It can make you start to trip, like a drug or something. It's just
Huh.
you.
Oh, okay.
I've never heard that one.
Are any of you?
Go on. What?
Do any of you vegetarians or vegans smoke weed?
Smoke
Out of
weed?
curiosity.
I actually don't know. No, I know everyone thinks I do. Everyone who meets me is I even had people ring me up and say, Andy, do you have any weed? Like, no. And they're like, really? I'm like, no. They're just so convinced that I must I must be some kind of source of weed.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, if my friends want to smoke weed, I'm not going to stop them, but I tend to avoid it at all costs.
I just meant like being vegan with munchies.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't know if that was a struggle for anyone.
Well, what's
Yeah,
that like?
I was taking this antidepressant a couple months back that made me want to eat like everything. that was a problem sometimes.
Well, I knew a guy years ago. He was a music promoter who I was friends with, and he was vegetarian, and he fell off the wagon of vegetarianism because he smoked a load of weed, and then just got the munchies and a load of meat.
Oh, I don't think I would ever do that.
No, at the time I was just like, oh, I was so disappointed in him. I didn't say anything, but I was just like, oh my god, because I'd only been vegetarian maybe for a short while at this point, so my disappointment was immense at him for this. But I've never like smoked weed, so I've never had this kind of munchies kind of thing, but
yeah. Well,
what do you have if you've got the vegan munchies off weed? Just anything.
A lot of peanut butter.
Peanut butter is good.
I love peanut butter.
I do like peanut butter with jam, preferably. That is quite good in a sandwich. I didn't used to eat peanut butter until I discovered you could have it with jam. I know in America jelly is the thing, but I mean, if you have it with jam, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Nutella okay?
I don't know. I don't think it is. No.
I'm definitely sure it's not vegan. It's not vegan, but
no, it's not vegan. Oh, it's okay for vegetarians. There are vegan chocolate spreads you can get. I've had a couple of them. They're quite nice. But Nutella itself, no, not vegan.
Screw you guys.
I've never had any vegan chocolate. Like, does it taste any different?
No.
So I should try some then.
Oh, do it. It's a lot of dark chocolate is okay, but you can get like substitute milk chocolate, which is cool.
For that, like I don't like chocolate that much anyway, but
well, I quite like chocolate. Like, did you guys see my advent calendar kind of?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I love those videos.
Because I binge watched all your videos.
Yeah, that was my vegan advent calendar. That was the first advent calendar I'd had in years. Like, it was all vegan. Excuse me, but that was good. That was all kind of fake chocolate. Well, it's not fake chocolate, to be fair. The cocoa is real. You either get dark chocolate where you've just got cocoa sugar, and vegetable fat, or you've got this added soy milk kind of stuff, or other plant milk, and then you've got kind of milk chocolate. But well, it was good. They were a bastard to get out of the things that I think because they're designed for children with small fingers that can just prise them out, and I've got massive adult fingers, and it's just like I can't get these chocolates out of these little chambers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I used a massive knife, so that's testing a good example, isn't it?
You could have used a small knife.
Well, I did, yeah. It's finding what was clean.
You just like stabbed the chocolate.
Yeah.
I was like, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, well, so it's setting a really good example for young vegans, isn't it? It's like if you can't get your chocolate out of your avocado, they get a really big, sharp knife and stab the thing out. But it's just, I think if you've got little, tiny child fingers, you're probably okay. Just prizing them out.
I have tiny child fingers.
I've got good nails there. But,
Mine are fake, but I guess.
well, I've got nails on this hand, but not on this hand.
No.
Because it's for guitar playing. Because you got to fret with this hand, but then you got to pluck with this hand. So I grew the nails to get a really awesome loud sound. So it looked weird, but it sounds good.
It's like it's like some of those people you see have a really long pinky fingernail, and the rest of their nails are the little fingers got like a really long nail, and the rest
What's
is
It's
cut
for the Coke.
That's for Coke.
Yeah. It's
What,
cool.
For Coke, like cocaine Coke?
Yeah, like cocaine Coke.
What?
What do you need
It's,
a pinky for cocaine?
It's
You put a little under the nail, and that's not that I would know.
just in case. It's like because if you're like in a public place and like the toilet's going to be gross, so you don't want to put your Coke on like the toilet. So you've got to like you just put it.
First of all, why are you going to do Coke in a public place?
I don't know.
That's just your first problem.
I don't know.
That's so weird. That is so weird. That is.
I don't.
You grow
That
an
is
entire
so smart, now that I think about it.
nail.
But I would still have all my fingernails long.
It's what the I'm trying to think. You know, Taxi Driver. It's what the pimp has in that. They've got like a really long finger nail.
Oh my! So there's people that have that probably snort cocaine.
Yeah, I don't they want to look like this.
Doesn't it telegraph them to the police? Then, you know.
Could do other
like-
drugs.
I'm
Tell
not.
me what.
Could do other drugs, not just coke.
Yeah, but doesn't it make it obvious to the police that these people are snorting shit if they've got some kind of long?
What are they gonna go do? Look at everybody's pinky?
Yeah, but they're gonna. Yeah, it's gonna telegraph something to them, isn't it?
Yes. I'm not sure exactly. Because I feel like most of the people who have it, from what I've gathered from pop culture, are the type of people who are probably obviously involved in crime anyway. I don't think you'll see like businessmen who do coke with really long fingernails.
No.
Which is
This person was an accountant.
Or do it off strippers' butts.
This person was an accountant.
An accountant with a long nail. Well, it just seems odd to me that they would telegraph the fact they are coke users by their nails. They'd probably want to hide that. Although apparently on banknotes, if banknotes have huge amounts of trace cocaine on them, there's just your average banknote will have huge trace amounts of. Well, I say
some
huge.
drug.
Is that what you call not dollar bills, or like dollar bills? You can.
Not dollar bills.
Yeah, banknotes. We have, by the way, We have Charles Darwin on our tenor.
I think our 10 is Hamilton.
Well, on our tenors, we have Charles Darwin, which is I think is hilarious because it really sticks the middle finger up to creationism.
That's awesome. We should have
I'll see if I've got one on me. Hang on.
We still got God written on our money.
Yeah, we don't have that. We have Darwin, but I don't have a tenor on me.
Yeah, I might have a tenor. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, tenor. I've got fivers and 20s.
I have.
I've got a penny.
Our 20 has.
I've got a chance. I need some cash. Jesus Christ.
The notorious Andrew Jackson. And one of my U.S. history teachers hates Andrew Jackson so much he won't use $20 bills. So he'll either have very large amounts of money or like 10s and 5s.
So just give him change. Or he'll just say, no, I want my change all in not 20s.
Yeah, just
Is that the case? They'll say, "Oh no, I'm not having any 20s."
Yeah, like he'll say that to people. I've gone out to lunch with him, and he'll say that. Like if he spends more than like $50 and gets more than $20 in change, we're like, I don't want any 20s. Because he just like doesn't like Andrew Jackson. It's so funny.
But recent controversy about a year or two ago. This woman was receiving rape threats and all sorts because we're changing the tenor in the UK and it's going to have Jane Austen on it. And this feminist woman had campaigned to get Jane Austen on the tenor, and she was getting rape threats and all sorts of shit for it.
If you're a female, you're gonna get rape threats for anything.
Yeah.
Well,
fuck.
It's about ethics and money journalism or something.
Yeah.
What the hell, like? Because it's like, no, we've got to have a man on the tenor, or it's just sexism.
I really don't get why we can't have like multiple different designs for different notes, so that we have like a variety of people on them. Because otherwise, it just creates like we've only got in the UK we really only use 3 notes. Like you're very unlikely to use a 50, so it's basically 5, 10, and 20.
Yeah.
So we've only
Do you not have ones?
No.
No, we have coins for that. Coins. Little metal things. Yeah.
What the fuck is a coin?
See, we have $1 coins in the US, but like nobody uses them.
$1 coins is supposed to be a good thing.
When I was in Canada, some of the money was plastic. It was like plastic money. It was like plastic money. Like the notes were made of plastic. And apparently they're going to introduce that over here soon. But I remember some of the notes they gave me were plastic notes.
American notes are made using cotton to some degree, if I'm not lying.
I think that's right.
Yeah, I have heard it.
My favorite thing, and I wish I had my wallet with me so I could show you all, but there's this group in my area that hands out, it's like this evangelical church, and they hand out these
I know what you're going to say.
$500 dollars, and they hand them out to try and get you to go to the church. But it's super funny, because it's like, it just says 500 Confederate dollars, and it's got like the Confederate flag on it, and like a Star of David, and they like stick it on your windshield wiper in your car. It's like, I've got like so many of them now. It's so great.
Okay, have you know the fake notes that are like, it would be like $100 bill, and then you pick it up, and on the other side it will say, some things are more important than money. Jesus Christ died for your sins.
Yeah,
So
I've
you receive
got
eternal salvation.
a few of those too.
Oh,
Yeah,
Imagine
the fundies have
you're
moved past those in our area, but the like Confederate dollar thing is recent, and it's just so funny.
Yeah, Confederate dollars sounds weird. I mean, like it's kind of an unrealistic goal. I feel. You know, I don't even understand how you can get new Confederates. It's just not gonna happen.
Well, I don't even live in the South. Like,
Maybe they want the South to leave. Maybe that's the point of the nights. It's like, yeah, like here's your money. No, please go.
Imagine being a homeless person though, and
Oh,
you find one of these notes on the floor. And it's like, oh, yeah. Have you guys heard about the homeless spikes? Homeless
Yes.
people
Oh, yeah.
spikes.
Yes.
That is disgusting.
Yes, homeless people are not pigeons.
Okay, if you don't want them in the street, give them a house. Jesus.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Don't
Yeah.
stab the homeless in their sleep. No, not good.
That's some good advice. It's a shame it has to be given to the government. Don't stab the homeless in their sleep.
Yes. No.
Like I was hanging out in some anarcho-capitalist groups when I heard that it's not violating the non-aggression principle. Like they're not aggressing against him and stuff.
Anarcho-capitalism is one of the horrible ideas I've ever heard of.
Yeah, well, so when I posted them, I was like, well, is it okay to just put, like, landmines on benches so homeless people don't sit on them? Like, like where's the line?
Yeah.
Oh, God. No, anarcho-capitalism, I mean, along with all these weird right-wing kind of libertarian kind of ideas, it's just fucking hideous. I can't think of anything more hideous than the police being privately owned. That is one of the most terrifying thoughts ever.
I'm gonna be honest, it's my favorite kind of libertarianism, because they're just, like, super honest about what they believe.
Oh, yeah, about how revoltingly selfish they are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When I first discovered this kind of American conservative libertarianism, someone explained it to me, and I was just like, so you're just selfish, basically. I was like, I've never heard of this weird shit before. Like, it's all these terms like big government. Like, that's not a term we hear in the UK at all. Because I think most people accept the necessity for some kind of welfare state, even on the conservative side of things. So when someone says, "Oh, this jabbering about big government," I was like, "What the hell do they mean by big government?" And he'd be like, "Oh, you mean like government?" We just call that government over here. Yeah. So okay.
But the annoying thing is that all these bad ideas in America keep getting imported to the UK.
Yes.
Please, Americans, stop doing that.
Yes.
Stop
Stop
sending
doing
your
that.
bad ideas here.
Stop doing that. Also, freedom to offend. That's not that's not a British term. Like, I've heard British people go on about that. Like that. Where did you get that from? Where did you hear the term freedom? And they're like, and they trace it back to, like, America. It's like, yeah. We call that freedom of expression over here. We don't call it freedom to offend. For the same reason we don't call the right to defend yourself freedom to hit people. It's technically what it is, but it's misleading when you call it that. And yeah. And it's America's fault.
I would like to apologize on behalf of all Americans for any anarcho-capitalists who come over to the United.
Yeah.
Oh, there are a lot of them. It's kind of shocking how many. When you just find like the obscure sort of, you know, around like under 5,000 subscriber anarcho-capitalist YouTube channels, a lot of them are British. It's kind of. I mean, it's.
Mr. E.
of MRE.
Oh yeah, Rocky Mystery. Yeah, that's it.
He's great.
He's cut his hair though. He's cut his hair and grown a beard and stopped wearing Motorhead shirts. He started wearing like real shirts.
You're just like
Really?
you're just like a mentally ill and stuff, man. And like liberal academia.
Socialists are mentally ill. Yeah. Universities are Marxist churches, according to Rocky Mr. E.
Boom.
And
I love how like everybody is to the left of rocking Mr. E except like except maybe Murray Rothbard. That might be it.
One of the things I like about Murray Rothbard is that he actually said, and this is something I love bringing up to anarcho-capitalists, he said, if we're being honest, we aren't anarchists. He was like, you know, if we're going to pay any respect to the linguistic and political history of anarchism, it's dishonest of us to call ourselves anarchists. And he says that in an essay, it's basically are libertarians anarchists, but it's funny how oh god, what was it? There's a channel, I think it's called Anarcast, like cast as in like broadcast. And one of the first videos they do is on like what is anarchism, and they're talking about how like all the socialists are trying to steal the term anarchism, and they're having a discussion about whether or not they should take back the term anarchism from socialists. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, Pierre Joseph Proudhon was a capitalist, man.
Yeah,
Oh god.
Rocky Mr. E has a video called "Socialism Should Be Banned," and you'd think the title was probably just a troll title, like just a way to draw people in. That he's totally sincere about this, but throughout the whole video, he doesn't at any point accurately define socialism at all. He just goes through all these straw men of what socialism is, and it's just oh god.
Well, like the question I have for you guys is like, does libertarian calls themselves a libertarian? Does that mean like what it does in the U.S.?
No.
Or
no.
Okay, so that still refers to like the socialist anarchists then, or that?
Much, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's slightly like in change, because I mean you've got three things. First of all, you have got like the idea of American ideas being imported. Secondly, you've got political scientists and people who know anything about political science will probably still use the term to mean socialist. But thirdly, you've got UKIP, who keep repeatedly being defined, and I'm sure at some points have defined themselves as libertarian.
Yes, they have.
When they support, increasing military spending and increasing spending on prisons and I mean,
Yeah.
Well, that's
that's
funny, because that's like something our libertarians in America, like Rand Paul's against that.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is interesting.
Well, libertarian means you believe in liberty, but I've noticed that these right-wing libertarians only really believe in their own liberty, and they don't really give a fuck about anyone else's. So they're like really deeply devoted to this idea of their own liberty. And if society were ever to grant them the amount of liberty they want, it would mean everyone else is sacrificing their liberty just to give all these these right libertarians the liberty they so desire. So to me, it's an unworkable philosophy.
I mean, I think one of the main problems is they act as if they're revolutionaries, but they don't question the underlying assumptions in society. So obviously, one of the big conversations you have is the idea of like they're against property theft, and then you have the discussion like, well, what is property? Is slavery just property and things like that? And they're just like, what do you mean, what is property? Everyone knows what property is, blah blah blah. And it's like they're not interested in actually addressing what forces or what legitimacy is or what property is. They're just interested in saying, the status quo let's keep it just like that, and let's remove any kind of democratic means to change it.
Yes, they're just
Yeah.
selfish.
So they're the ultimate reactionaries, really.
Personally, I'm obviously not a fan of anarcho-capitalism. I think the best response to it has actually come from a right-wing libertarian, which is Robert Nozick in his Anarchy, State, and Utopia. That's probably the best response I've seen to Murray Rothism.
I think you can find that on possibly even Mises.org.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can. The first few chapters of his book where he's going over why a state would exist at all, and then the rest of his book is just a bunch of weird thought experiments and begging the question, and is impossible to read, but it's a really good rebuttal to the Marie Rothbards and Ludwig von Mises's sort of people. And I hang out in a lot of those groups, not because I'm an ANCAP, but because I hate myself and I like arguing with them. And I encourage a lot of them to read Robert Nozick, and they never do, and they really should.
Yeah. Well, regarding animal rights as well, have you ever been trolled by a guy called Harold Smith?
Nope.
He's one of the famous kind of libertarian kind of trolls. He just likes posting really long essay-length comments on left-wing videos, but
I don't have time to read that shit.
yeah, he just left me some really long comment about how he's against animal rights because blah 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 blah, blah it leads to big government. I just kind of skimmed the comment. I've got to be honest, I skimmed it because by this point it had a million comments from him that I didn't care about, and I just skimmed it. And at the end, it was like animal rights is wrong because blah, 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 big government. And I was like, I don't care, Harold Smith, why you think animal rights leads to big government, because
I should be able to hit my dog, because if I can't, 1984.
Yes, big government. It was just, he just had some obscure story about some woman who did something to an animal and big government happened because of it. Oh God, I don't care. There's only so many opinions you could hear from people like that before you just think that they're probably wrong about everything, and you shouldn't read you should skim at best the comments they leave. So, but yeah, libertarians do not support animal rights, as I'm aware. Not in this conservative American sense of libertarianism, anyway.
I've run into 2 vegetarian ANCAPs that I can think of.
Okay.
They are very rare.
What was? How did they rationalize that?
Well, they're deontologists. So it was well, we don't have a duty to not be dicks to other people, but it was just well, I don't think we should eat meat. It was weird.
They rationalize their complete and utter selfishness with. So they have no respect for human rights, but animal rights. They're okay with that. Yeah.
Right. Well, it was something. It was an expansion of the non-aggression principle to animals as well. So it was just well, I don't think we should aggress against people, but we also shouldn't aggress against animals. Which is okay. I can get on with that a little bit, I guess. I think the nap is sort of ridiculous, but
yeah. Well, there are weird, vegetarians who are right wing. I mean, Pat Condell is I think he's a vegan.
Really?
I think so. Oh, he's a vegetarian of some stripe, but he won't it because seeing how much he hates other human beings. I mean, it's really weird how he has this weird empathy for animals. I don't know. It's so weird because he's obviously a racist and so on. But it was funny though. One of the funniest things I ever saw was on Twitter. One of Pat Condell's fans said to Pat Condell, they said, I think you shouldn't be allowed into the UK unless you've got a bacon sandwich and a can of Foster's. And he responded by saying, I'm a vegetarian and I think Foster's taste like piss.
Hey, I was just drinking Foster's.
Which is not vegetarian, by the way. Fine with either. But this is the thing, and they responded to this by saying, don't worry, Pat, we can have soy bacon for the vegetarians. And I was thinking, soy bacon wouldn't keep the Muslims out, which is what you're all about. So you're an idiot for you even failed at being an Islamophobe. Really, they're like, oh, yeah, soy bacon isn't halal. It's halal. So yeah, it doesn't work. But that was one of the funniest things I saw. Someone trying to look up the Pat Condell going on about bacon and it didn't work because he is a vegetarian. Dude, a vegetarian racist. It's the weirdest combination of ideas ever.
Yeah, well, it really shocked me when I ran into this first ANCAP who told me they were a vegetarian, because I was just like, wait, what? Why? And then they based it that they don't think animals are different moral agents than humans. Which I know is a position that a lot of vegetarians take. So I assume they're a vegetarian before they became an ANCAP. And then so we're expanding the non-aggression principle to include animals as well. Which was just like what threw me off. It was kind of like, wow, okay, like that's interesting. So it does happen, but it's very rare.
Yeah, it's weird. I think we wrongly assume all vegetarians and vegans, whatever, are all lefty.
Yeah.
Liberal, hippie kind of people.
It's not that far of a stretch to say.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm like the worst person to argue against that cliche because I'm a proper hippie and everything. But yeah, there are a number of. I think the more people who adopt this kind of idea, the more broad. The more broad an impression of veganism and vegetarianism or whatever we're going to get.
Wow.
But yes, Pat Condell, believe it or not, yes, he's a vegetarian. I think he's a vegan. He calls himself vegetarian, but on his website he said he doesn't eat cheese or eggs or whatever, so I'm assuming that means he's a vegan.
I think most people just assume that conservatives won't be vegetarian or anything because most conservative, ideas are self-involved.
It's all about selfishness, yeah. But,
is that a UK thing too? Like, is that in your UK politics that like the conservatives are sort of like self-centered assholes?
Pretty much.
Yes, that is correct.
Our conservatives aren't as bad as your conservatives. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, well, like
I don't want to brag,
fair,
but
aside from like Golden Dawn, no one is bad as our conservatives.
Yeah, in the UK, like things like young Earth creationism and all this sort of thing. When I didn't know what that was till I was about 23, and when I first read about it, I was like, what? No! This is not real. And when I started meeting people who believe this stuff, they started going on about evolution is not true because monkeys can't give birth to humans. I was like, no, that's not what evolution is. Allow me to explain what I learned in primary school when we studied this, and then I realised they hadn't learned this in primary school from some part of the US where they don't allow you to learn that, and I was like, this is so weird. This was such a culture shock for me, and I used to spend a lot of time arguing with people like this, and I've realised now that the better thing to do is to try and get to the root of the problem and actually teach people science from the ground up. It was just like, what? No. I was just like, no, this is wrong.
My favorite argument to have with young Earth creationists is to just ignore the fact that biblically they're idiots and point out that theologically they're idiots. I mean, Jews, since before the New Testament was even canonized, have been interpreting Genesis not literally. Like, I think a lot of people have this idea in their head that, and this is probably a problem for atheists too.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Atheists particularly,
That the non-literal interpretation of Genesis was something created as a ad hoc justification in the face of evolution or Big Bang or something like that. When in reality, people have been arguing. Most theologians have been arguing that it shouldn't be interpreted literally since the beginning of time.
Yes. Biblical literalism is actually a very new thing.
Yeah.
Both and anti-theists don't get this. They seem to think this biblical literalism was the way it always was, and then gradually we've worked towards this more metaphorical interpretation. It's actually new. The metaphorical interpretation is a lot older. The literal interpretation is newer, and it's a reaction to a more multicultural, multi-faithy, secular kind of approach. It's the backlash to it. They're like, that's what it is. So yes, biblical literalism and young Earth creationism is actually quite new. It's not the old way that won't die. It's a new thing that's come in to react to the.
Yeah, well, of course it's new. The Earth is only 6,000 years old.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, God.
Well, it's like when Scott Walker, who, for those of you who don't know, is governor here in the States, but is also running for president. He was interviewed by the BBC, and someone had asked him if he believed in evolution. He just refused to answer the question.
Oh my God, no! That's not someone in charge of the country.
Yeah. Well, so in the United States though, that's a perfectly fine response politically. He will not take heat for that at all.
No one in the UK would dare ever say that.
Right.
It's weird at the moment. David Cameron at the moment is trying to sort of cut this fine line between appealing to Christians who have all gone in the UKIP direction and appealing to the more secular people who might be more of his core supporters. And it's a difficult balance to strike because an actual Christian fundamentalist in the UK would probably be voting UKIP, I think, no question. But Cameron doesn't want to lose those kind of supporters, but at the same time he doesn't want to lose the supporters he actually has, and it's striking this weird balance between not being too Christian fundamentalist, but not being too secular either. And I don't think he can do it.
Yeah. I mean, he's not really good at running the country, but as a politician, he is on point. He is really on point. Especially the stuff where he made the Liberal Democrats vote for raising tuition fees, which they didn't even need to do. They didn't even need to raise the tuition fees. They just did it so that they could hurt the re-election chances of the Lib Dems.
All right.
It's genius. It's genius.
Well, in fairness,
that's evil genius, though.
Well, in fairness, I mean, a lot of Lib Dem supporters will default to Labour. So,
yeah.
So you could argue, because I think, I don't know, I mean, I guess there might be some Lib Dem supporters who would prefer Conservatives, but I don't know, I mean, it's difficult because Lib Dems are a bit sort of wishy-washy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the thing is, though, that there's a two-party system, and with the Lib Dems it was going to be a three-party system, but they just essentially cut the Lib Dems at the knees at that point, because then they don't have to fight two people, they just have to fight one person.
My favorite part about talking about politics with people from the UK is you start mentioning third parties, and I'm like, wait, what?
Oh my God, yeah.
Third party.
I was trying to explain to trying to put into perspective how anomalous it is that in America, the only people they have in their Congress, last time I checked, was Democrats, Republicans, and Independents. And in the UK, we have about 13 parties in our Parliament, in our House of Commons. So we've got, admittedly, a lot of those sort of nationalist parties for Labour and Ireland. No, sorry, not Labour. Wales and Ireland and Scotland, but we've got. I mean, I'd say we've got about sort of six, 7 parties in terms of actual political spectrum. It goes from like BNP, UKIP, Conservatives, Lib Dems, Labour, Respect, Greens. So 7. So
I think we've got a socialist party in the UK as well.
we've got Social Democratic Labour Party, which I think are affiliated with Irish Assembly mostly. But I mean, we also have a Communist Party, but they obviously don't really, do much.
The U.S. Communist Party?
No, I mean, I don't know about your. I know you have a Communist Party too, but
yeah, our Communist Party is a joke.
yeah.
Sam Webb, who I don't know if he still runs it, but he used to be the chairperson. Back in 2008, he just instead of running anybody, he was just like, fuck it, vote. And everybody in the Communist Party that was a member of it flipped out, and I think they deposed him, but I'm not sure what happened with it. And then we have not anybody who has political seats, but we have the American Socialist Party, and then Socialist Alternative, which is a Trotskyist group. And then there's the Socialist Workers' Party, which is a split of SA, which is another Trot group.
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe because your minor parties are so obscure, they're able to be more radical, whereas ours, even they're not quite. We don't have any party really in the top 10 parties in terms of how they fare that could be described as socialist in terms of being Trotskyist. We've got, I think, even though obviously we're a more socialist country on the whole than the US is, I think the most socialist it gets in terms of parties that people actually consider is the Greens with their environmental policies and more spending on education and higher taxes on the rich and things like that. But I don't think that we have any parties who are Trotskyist.
Yeah, we've got the closest thing we have to someone who's an actual socialist but isn't really is Bernie Sanders, who calls himself a socialist but isn't. He's just a social democrat, reformist kind of person, but he isn't really that either. Vermont's Socialist Party. But he's not for workers' control of the means of production. He's not a socialist in the traditional political sense. And he's the only congressperson who actually has power. None of our obscure political groups wield any political power whatsoever.
There was what was it? It was there was a Rocking Mystery video, and it was, is the West or is the USA communist? And he talks about it for 10 minutes, and I think it was posted on the Bad Politics subreddit. But
that's my favorite.
Yeah, the top comment was just there's an easy way to answer this question. Number 1, does the West have states? If the answer is yes, then the West is not communist. That's the thing. One of the things that really pisses me off in my seminars, because we just did we did Marx last week and tomorrow, we have to do, today, I should more properly say, we have to do Weber and Marx. So basically the question is like, is capitalism good, is socialism bad, blah, blah, blah. One of the things that keeps happening is people always bring up equality, and they say like, oh, Marx wanted everyone to be equal, but everyone can't be equal, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, Marx never mentions equality in the Communist Manifesto, which is what we had to read. And I think he doesn't really mention it in Das Kapital. And very few socialists mention equality. They usually talk about like worker freedom, worker control, and things like that. And it's weird because no matter how many times you tell someone who is anti-socialist that socialism isn't really about equality or isn't really about the government giving people money to make everyone equal, or people being paid the same amount for different jobs or things like that. No matter how many times you tell them this, throughout the conversation they'll keep bringing it up. Like they'll keep being like, yeah, but socialism is never going to work because if people get paid the same amount for different jobs, then they're not going to do the hard jobs. I think that's not what socialism is. But it's just, I mean, that's the thing. When people get such a preconception in their head about what it is they're arguing against, no matter how many times you tell them they're completely wrong, they'll go back to it.
Well, socialism is about workers controlling the means of production.
Yeah, like, I had that problem in a couple poli-sci classes I took, and it was like my freshman year, and like I just gave up talking to people in the courses with it because they just like weren't listening to me, and I let my professor explain it because it was just like, I'm not gonna bother anymore. like I read more of Karl Marx than you. I know what I'm talking about, but nope.
Oh god.
It's like
mystery in bad politics is just like cheating because it's like
Oh god.
Sometimes I'm a bit of a dick because someone was talking about how they reject the idea of privilege and they were talking about how it's all because of critical theory, and I was like, oh really? Have you read Critical Theory by David Held? That's the thing, it's not even that much effort, but what was it? I mentioned that I said that in order to understand a concept, you should probably read, to say that you can fully understand it, and obviously this is a bit of a rule of thumb because it depends on the concept. I said you should probably read about 2,000 pages of academia, and I had someone respond if you have to read 2,000 pages to understand your idea, it just shows that your ideas are too convoluted to be worth listening. Listening to.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
This is internet dipshits, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
The the too long didn't read mentality.
It's a very fitting name.
Yes, for him it is. Yes, because that is his whole philosophy. It's like, I don't read things unless they're the dictionary, like a nice short dictionary definition or something. That's it. And if it, and I said to him the dictionary is not the place to go for accurate descriptions of philosophical or political or whatever ideas. Right, they give very brief overviews of these things, and if you want to understand these things properly, you need to go to actual academic sources or things like the Stanford Encyclopedia or whatever. You need to go somewhere that's going to give you an in-depth overview of these things.
One of the biggest jokes I saw in that regard was it was like an introduction to anarchy video made by an anarcho-capitalist. But it took dictionary definitions, and I think it took the dictionary definition of democracy, and the democracy definition said blah 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 blah. But then it had the definition of anarchy, and it said one of the definitions given, or one of the clarifiers, was a political ideal. And of course, what they meant by ideal was ideology. But the person was like, see, the dictionary is saying anarchy is ideal. But it's not saying that about democracy. I was like, number one, that's not what the dictionary is saying. Number two,
Yeah.
the dictionary can't define things to be good. If I
Yes.
looked up genocide and the dictionary said the mass extermination of a group of people, a good thing, it wouldn't prove that genocide was a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
That's-
the dictionary is descriptive rather than prescriptive.
Exactly.
That's super funny. Like I've heard the like, well, here's my dictionary definition argument before, but I've never heard the like, the dictionary says this is ideal before. That's great. I'm gonna have to remember that one.
It was actually, I might be able to find the video.
Please do if you can.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
Other thing I wanted to bring up on the subject of health and vegetarianism, veganism. I mean, does anyone have anything to say on that subject?
Well, like when people tell me, I don't know, you know what, I can't, someone else start. Who is muting everybody?
It's
Why?
King. It's King. It's King because he's a douche.
I'm trying to make it so that I can like concentrate on finding this video without having to like, no offense, but it's like distracting. I don't know how is there a way to just like shut off the volume on this? Fine, I'll listen to you guys. Wait, I know I can take this off. No, wait, I can't because I need to listen. Oh.
You know what you could do? You could close the Hangout window and then open it again when you want to.
This is scary. I did just find something called "What is Anarchy?" in the
Right,
YouTube
okay.
video is called "Leave the Matrix."
Right, that is weird. I didn't know you could mute people. That is weird. I thought only I could mute people.
We can all
My
read each
computer
other.
just told me it needed to restart in like 5 minutes.
No, it's...
I'm gonna call it quits for the night, but this was
Okay.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Andy.
No problem. No
It was
problem.
nice chatting with all you wonderful people.
Stay at it. Stay at it.
Cool.
Yes, and return to
Night,
YouTube
everyone.
if you when you feel up to it. Return to YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Take
Do
care.
it. I love your videos.
Night, everyone.
Hi, Hobbs.
Keep it real, dude. Keep it real. Yeah.
So I've got a story.
Okay. Okay.
So I went off to well, I came back from Germany, and I had this horrible cough that wouldn't go away. I had it for about a year and a bit. I was just like really, I think it was a throat infection or something, and my acquaintances told me go vegan, and I did it. I went vegan for like 3 months, got rid of the cough completely. I think it's more to do with my diet though than veganism, but I ate healthily when I was vegan.
You said more to do with your diet than veganism.
Yeah, because
Veganism is a diet.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
No, I mean it's more to do with the fact that I had a very poor diet, and when I became a vegan,
beforehand. Okay,
so-
right, okay.
and that probably would have contributed to me being like, having that cough, but it got rid of it because I started eating healthier, and then that sort of helped me recover basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, some people always say, "Oh, vegan's so bad for you." I read an article that says you're gonna die because you're vegan, and like you can send studies back and forth with people all day. I mean,
Yeah. And I'm not dead. I've been a vegan for 12 years now, and I'm not dead. I'm just saying. It's like I've when excuse me. It sounds like I'm gonna die. I'm not. Okay. When I first became a vegetarian, people kept telling me I would have all sorts of diseases and stuff, and it just didn't happen because, why would it? I think if it were that common, I think,
it would, we'd know about it. It's my health has improved immensely since. I think when I went vegetarian, I've got to be honest, I ate a lot more cheese and
Yeah.
eggs, so I kind of gained weight a bit because I was eating that kind of stuff instead of meat. But when I went vegan, I lost weight, and although I think my health kind of improved when I went vegetarian overall, but I did gain weight. But when I went vegan, I lost weight and kind of my health improved as well. I found it easier to do exercise and things like that. So overall, I'd say it's healthier.
I think it is too,
Yeah.
personally. Some people say, like Chris was saying, like when his sister went vegan, she got really sick, but like that doesn't mean she was having a proper vegan diet. It doesn't mean she was eating everything she needs to be eating. That doesn't mean that like being vegan's bad for you just because his sister didn't know how to do it.
I think you do have to do it right. I've said that to people. It's like if you spend all your time eating like vegan ice cream and vegan chocolate, you're going to be unhealthy because that's still high sugar, high fat food. But if you balance it out right, like if you have plenty of fruit and veg, plenty of pulses and whatever, you're gonna be probably pretty healthy. So I do say to people, it does have to be done right. You do have to balance the diet out right, but the idea that it in itself is unhealthy is wrong, because that's just inaccurate. Excuse me. Because if you balance it out right and make sure you have a reasonable amount of fruit and veg and the right amount of carbs and everything, you'll be fine.
It's just funny how people will be like yelling at you about how it's unhealthy while they're eating like a hamburger with like a lot of cheese on it, and I'm like, okay, or fast food, and I'm like, okay, logic.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't get people trying to tell me it's unhealthy that often.
Maybe it's just because my family is anti-vegan.
Oh yeah. I don't get it. I used to get it, but I don't get it anymore because I used to be more overweight. But I think most people realize it would be really silly now to tell me that it's unhealthy when I'm obviously a lot healthier than I used to be, and I'm probably healthier than they are. I think most people have realized that it's just not a good argument to try and make against me, because this wouldn't work really. But no, my family, I mean, they were not very keen on the idea at first, but they're a lot more accepting of it now. They're quite tolerant of it now, but at first they really didn't like it.
Yeah, my mom's vegetarian though. My dad isn't. My mom's a vegetarian.
Yeah. No, at first they really didn't like the idea because they thought it'd be really difficult to work around, which it really isn't. But now they're quite supportive of it now. They haven't adopted it themselves, but they're okay with it, which is quite good. So I think that they realised as well when they realised I'd lost weight and everything and become healthier and everything, I think they were a bit more sold on the idea. But no, it's not good dealing with anti-people.
Yeah. My dad once offered me $5,000 to eat a plate of various meats.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
I didn't do it.
No. Why is that? Is it?
Was he serious? Like,
Yeah. He was legitimately. He was like, if you eat this whole thing, I will give you $5,000.
because he wants you to eat meat, or because he just wanted to test your.
Both. Like he doesn't like that I'm so strong with it, and like,
Mm.
yeah, he's trying to make me weak, but I'm not doing it.
That's weird. It's like one guy I used to work with actually on that sort of.
Good night, King.
Good night, guys.
Oh, are you off? Are you off?
Yeah. I've
Keep it
got
real.
to actually do work tomorrow. It's terrible.
Oh dear.
I've got 3 whole hours of doing things.
Oh no.
Alright.
Yeah. Yeah. This is something that would tie into feminism as well here. This guy I used to work with. I used to work in a pub, and this is like when I first went vegetarian. He mentioned some waitress who worked in the pub, and he said, "Oh, if she said she'd have sex with you if you ate meat, would you eat meat?" And I was like, I think my response was like, "What kind of weird person only has sex with people who eat meat?" It's like, what a weird.
That's just like what kind of question is that too? Like, why does that come to someone's mind?
Yeah, yeah.
What if you were stranded on an island, or what if you had to shoot a cow or a person? Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
People ask the weirdest
Well,
things.
I think someone asked. I think Jonathan Ross asked Morrissey that once in an interview. He just said. He said, "Oh, if you were in a plane crash and you had to eat your cat or something, or, would you do it? If you survived a plane crash and it was just you and your cat, would you eat your cat?" And he was like, "Why is my cat with me on a plane?" They're like, "How has my cat survived the plane crash?"
Yeah.
But no, but none of the food, the actual
Yeah, like
food survives.
people just want to be annoying.
Yeah, these weird scenarios people dream up. But the thing is, you could dream that up for anyone, couldn't you? You could say, okay, you're stranded in the middle of the desert, and there's only you and a dead person. Do you eat the person? And it's you could. That's what I mean. You can dream up any kind of weird scenario for people.
Hello? I think you're cutting out.
I'm cutting out.
It says your volume's going, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Hold
Can
on.
you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Took my headphones out, and I still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good, good. There we go. But yes, there are these weird scenarios people dream up in which they would ask you if you would eat meat. But I mean, the answer is the same as in any other weird scenario. It's like you would do what was most ethical and necessary at the time. Isn't it? But I just find that some of these scenarios are so hypothetical.
Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're not even worthy of discussion. It's what would you do if this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened, and then there's meat and
there's meat.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I always feel like saying to people like that. I feel like saying I would just starve to death.
That's what I say most. If I'm on an island, I'm pretty sure I could find something other than.
Yeah.
I'll eat a leaf.
Coconuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. But that's the thing. You could put anyone in a situation where their ethics would be challenged, couldn't you?
Yeah. Which one of your parents are gonna kill? You have to kill one.
Yeah. So yeah. Why? You know.
Why not
It's the
just-
thing.
Good point.
But most people couldn't answer a question like that. So why should vegetarians have to do it?
Right.
Yeah. I mean.
Sage, you're muted. I don't know if you know that.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just panting because I just ate some very spicy
Spicy what?
pasta.
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 Okay. So like
Pasta.
your mic cut off. So it sounded like you said spicy pants. You said I ate some spicy pants. Uh,
That's my Twitter. That's my Twitter update now.
spicy pants. Yeah. Yes, you British.
Pasta.
Yes. Pasta.
So funny. Banana.
Tomato. Potato. No one actually says potato, of course, as we all know.
Water.
Wait, you guys don't say potato?
No, of course not.
Well, you say tomato, right?
Yes.
Then why wouldn't you say potato?
I say tomato and potato. But yeah. Yes. It's British English is amazing. It's a beautiful language that's been corrupted by Americans.
Oh my god.
For example, like chips, yes, are
Okay, but well, listen. If like a chip of something is like a small little like piece of it. Like
yes, yeah.
chips, not like French fries.
They're from Belgium for a start, so they should be Belgian fries, right? And they are fried, yes, but they are chipped. They're not crisp.
They're thick. They're not chips. Like ice chips are like little thin hard things like chips.
They're thin enough to be called chips, right? Right. Crisps are crisp. That's why they're called crisps.
Well, sometimes French fries are crisp.
They are crisp for what they are, but they are not the crispiest
But they're not
kind
chips.
of. They're not the crispiest kind
They're
of
not
potato,
chips.
which is crisps. They are chips.
I know. Chip. I'm just messing with you. Okay.
We have our chips are usually like at least finger thick. Like
Yes.
well,
Yes.
yes.
That's another.
Yeah,
That's
so
another.
not a
That's
chip.
another. That's another terrible thing Americans have done. They've made these really thin chips and imposed them upon us and called them French fries, where they're thin, they're horribly thin, and British chips, like proper British chips, are thick. They're big, thick, nice, big, thick chips, not these thin little thin things.
I don't even like whatever you call them anyway.
So big, yeah. The proper chips are thick.
Yeah. So yeah.
Also, a bathroom is where you go to have a bath.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Toilet. Or
Yes,
WC.
toilet. Kazi. We have so many wonderful toilet euphemisms, do we not? Kazi, bog,
Yeah.
loo.
Oh, one of my supervisors used to whatchamacallit, he used to call going to the toilet dropping the kids off for school.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I think they do that in America though as well.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I just reversed my camera. What happened?
But so people I used to know quite well, the toilet they had in their house had the word Chester emblazoned on it. So they used to say, I'm going to the Chester. But Chester is where I live. I live in the city of Chester, which is probably why this toilet was manufactured. So just Chester became the nickname for their toilet.
I say restroom.
You're not going there for a rest, though, are you?
Yeah. Okay, but it's more proper than saying, I'm gonna go take a shit now.
The shit room, yeah. Going to the shitter, yes.
It's like saying the powder room, like, just...
Yeah, powder, yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I'm not too bothered about the usage of language by Americans, as long as they don't try to
Yes,
impose it on us.
They do, though. They do. They do. They impose it. They do it. They do it subtly, though, because
No, you just tried to do it to me. Right.
do you know, in the UK, by the way, a faggot, right, is a type of dumpling. It's a type of meaty dumpling.
You can actually get faggot pie.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yes, that's what a faggot is. The kind of homophobic slur kind of thing. That's a modern, very recent Americanism. But yeah,
About rubber.
Yeah.
A rubber. Oh yes,
You
a
guys
rubber.
say-
A rubber is just an eraser. Yes, it is
No,
what we use.
rubber is a condom.
Well, now it is. Yeah, now
it
that
is.
innocent word has been corrupted by
Yeah.
Americans with their corrupting influence. But
The word fag
with-
is actually like what we use slang term for cigarettes, isn't it?
yes,
I knew that.
to bum a fag. To bum a fag is to scrounge a cigarette. Yes, that is what it means to bum a fag in the UK.
I'm not totally incompetent.
Really? Sorry.
Oh.
Yay.
That was a bit mean.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
Sage.
But yeah, but American English is problematic for a number of reasons like that.
Lord.
But Sage, do you laugh when you watch an American TV show and you hear them say "fanny"?
Yes. Yes. It is funny.
Yeah, well.
Do you? I think you're muted.
Fanny pack. Fanny pack
You're
is
muted.
He's not muted, I can hear him.
Fanny pack is the most amusing word ever.
I think Andy can't hear us.
Hello, I can't hear anyone.
Hello.
Hello?
I can't hear anyone.
We
Can you
can
hear
hear
me
each
now?
other.
It's very scary.
Check your settings.
He can't hear you. Did you know who Caden Cowger
I can't
is?
hear anyone. Where has the volume gone? Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
I know.
Hang on.
Sign English now.
Go on, say something again.
Hello.
Hello?
I still can't hear you.
Hello?
Okay, so it's on his end, probably. Maybe it's his headphones.
Yeah, there's the cog thing.
Can you say something again?
Hello? 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 Hello?
I still can't hear you.
Can he? I don't think he's reading what we're typing.
I still can't hear anything.
Hey.
Cog thing. Okay, cog thing. Okay.
Oh, there.
Is this one of those weird vegan problems?
Probably. But I suppose the superpowers should nullify that a little bit, you know?
What'd you say?
Yeah, your vegan superpowers. Apparently, you're supposed to get them.
Oh, Scott Pilgrim. Level 5, vegan.
Don't eat anything with a shadow.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot Jacob's here. He's like not speaking, but like smiling, like he's listening to us.
Yeah. I'm just glad I've made it this long. It lasts like 20 minutes.
I think Andy's frozen.
Yeah. Poor Andy. Frozen in a shard of time. He's left. He's probably gonna join back in again. We've lost our leader.
Where are we gonna go?
Mm.
We have to start eating each other.
Oh,
Only this was on an island.
Yeah.
Sage,
Yes.
do you know who Caden Cowger is?
Caden Cowger. I've heard that name.
He's the 16-year-old conservative talk show host on YouTube that does like he hates gays and thinks women can't wear pants.
Oh, he looks about 12.
He started when he was 12, I think.
Mm.
Well, one of the girls in Progressive Alliance and I got these underwear that say property of Caden Cowger. And now we're just gonna do it with all the like Thunderfoot and the Amazing Atheist and spam their Twitters.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a bit. I really despise Thunderfoot. I genuinely despise
Yeah, me too.
every fiber of my being. However, I don't. I just wanted to do like angry rants towards him. Like I've got like 2 or 3 videos recorded where I'm just like, just swearing at Thunderfoot. But I thought the biggest way to counteract Thunderfoot is actually to get bigger than him, and then when I'm bigger than him, then I'll start beef with him and see how he likes it.
He is so like ugh. No.
His most recent video, he updated that his dad's got cancer now, so I kind of felt bad about the fact that his dad had cancer, but he used it to promote. He used that video to also promote Islamophobia as well. I was
Oh.
like, wow, no, there's nothing that you want.
Like I said, I just hope he has a daughter.
Yeah, I like that comment that you made about that, but yeah, I
I
don't
would
know.
feel so bad.
I'd have to feel really, really sorry for any daughter that he had. It's just
Maybe it would change his heart though. Out of selfishness for his offspring, but like maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he's sort of capable of that kind. I mean, he's probably known women all his life, and yet he's still goes on about rape myths and the whole 90% of rape is just bad sex and
Who the
stuff.
fuck says that shit? What's wrong with him?
Thunderfoot says that.
What was his basis for that figure then of 90%?
He doesn't usually provide statistics or give, like he usually only uses anecdotal data for most things. So
So, what is the criteria for just bad sex?
Yeah.
Well, basically, the way he outlined it in the video was that, say for example, a man and woman engage with each other, and the woman decides that you should stop, and you finish anyway, then that's not technically rape. That's just bad sex.
Or if you're drunk, or someone gets you drunk,
Yeah.
or drugs you.
It's worrying because he has such a large audience, and they seem to all parrot what he says. Like, you'll find that his followers are just gonna repeat his truisms throughout the interwebs.
I worry about it, but I also feel like I feel like people like once you understand like how stupid that is, and like once you come to this realization that like that's a horrible